This is the opening match in the main event for Argentina and for Finland, two of the very best teams in the world. I mean, there's only 8 teams in the main event of this SAX Nations Cup. So every time I do an introduction, it's going to be like that, right? It's one of the best teams in the world. And wow, look at the starting positions here. They are very spread out compared to other African clearing games we have seen. So this should be a bit more structured, maybe, than other games as well. I'm going to start off introducing Finland. We have Amalius for Finland playing as the Hindustanis down here towards the south. Max is in the western corner playing as the Magyars. We then have Malisako in the eastern corner playing as the Huns. Malisako is directly next to Veleza, who's playing as the Japanese. Now, what that means is we've got 3 Argentinian players structured together towards the north. We've got Kapoch playing as the Berbers. We've got Gary playing as the Vietnamese. And then we have Nikov playing as the Gurjaros. So they could, in theory, all help each other, work together, and that could be a big positive for them. Then you've got Lucky. Lucky's down here on his own, and Lucky is very far away from his teammates, and we'll see what he does as the Burmese. So will be interesting because of the setup. Like, usually you have players a bit closer together at times. Here, everyone's kind of naturally spread out. Burmese is a pick that normally makes me think castle drop. Will Lucky be able to get to a castle drop if he's got the Hindustani player close by? We might end up going for Scout Rush or something. Now, both teams have gone for a common approach and standout picks here in this tournament so far. We have the Huns being chosen by the Finns. So the Huns get this horse. Look at the scouting there from Veleza with these sheep, by the way. He's scouting everything. But there should be a horse somewhere. Okay, there it is. So this has led to a fast castle from the Huns every single game I've seen. Because you get so much sheep, you are able to bring in like an extra 1,000 food underneath the TC. Combine that with the fact that it doesn't seem like they sense anyone is around him. Combine that with the fact he has a teammate close by in Veleza. I think we see a fast castle. Now, guys, I want to show you a trick, okay? You might not know about this. So, a Nomad, your villagers will spawn really far away sometimes. Max's TC is in the western corner, and he had a vill over here. So, instead of just walking that villager back across the map to that TC, he's actually taking some of the elephant underneath Veleza's TC. And if you garrison your villager inside your ally's TC, you get the food. You probably didn't know that, did you? So yeah, Max is probably going to have this vill over here forever. And we may even see this villager make military buildings. I've seen Finland do this many times where this vill, well, is walking home now. This vill will actually build like the barracks and the archer range if you want to go archers, for example. Or even like if you want to go scouts, this is just the villager that builds everything. So yeah, that's a tip. If you're going to try this in ranked, your teammates might not know about that, and they might think you're stealing their boar. So I guess just be careful who you do this with. In this case, these guys are obviously working together, but you just don't see that every day, right? And what I think is really cool about this particular thing is like Argentina, they're going to see this TC is here because of the Vietnamese bonus, and they're never going to expect scouts from Max to come from this side. So it's kind of a surprise aspect as well if Max chooses to go scouts there. They might see that Max is far away and think that Max will go fast castle, but he may still go scouts. Malleus bringing in elephants. We'll see who goes feudal age and who goes castle age here. What is the pathing on that elephant? Did you see that? Thankfully for Malleus, it kept following. Why did the elephant path the whole way around that pond instead of just coming this way? That was super weird. The elephant was like here, and the villager was here, and it still pathed the whole way around. The elephant kept chasing, so I guess everything's fine in the end. But yeah, so the Huns was the big play, the big call-out, civ-wise, for Finland, and then Vietnamese for Argentina. They drafted it top 5. So, as I said in the previous cast today, it really helps you make informed decisions on what to do because you know where everybody is. And already you can kind of see Gary. Like, I think Gary has no interest in being aggressive. He's just going to wall up And, I mean, he's got a lot of walling to do, honestly. But he probably feels he has the time. But does he have the time? Where's that Vil? Okay, so here's the Vil. I'm rather disappointed. I think the villager's just going to go home now. But I was thinking that there was a chance that this Vil would actually go for scouts. It will be scouts for the max. But I think he's just going to end up going scouts from home. He's trying to get this elephant back to his TC right now. And is being creative as possible. And Veleza is going, I believe, for fast castle? No, Veleza's not very fast. What am I talking about? Veleza's going to go archers, most likely. Wow, all of Finland are up very fast here. But how much of this is because Finland doesn't know exactly where the enemies are, right? I think a lot of that plays into their openings here. Lucky's going to wall in his wood line. Lucky's going to click up. Lucky's going to go to gold. He's aware of the Hindustanis here. I would be scared about a scout rush. This is the second time today I've seen a player pick Burmese, and I'm just struggling to think of a game plan that makes a lot of sense beyond Fast Castle Arambai. And I would like Fast Castle Arambai, but that doesn't seem to be the plan right now for Lucky. Archers probably isn't it. Cav probably isn't it if Hindustanis are out there, so it's surely got to be Arambai. Unless you want to go like Spearman Monk. Could be a play. Max is making a stable. But Argentina will get to see the uptimes from Max and guess that he's going scouts. That pretty much tells you everything. So they'll know that mill needs to be replaced. That mill's not great. I'm sure Max will fix that. I think Max is going to come down here and focus on Lucky. Gary is fully waltzed. He might just go for a big boom here. And then we've got Kapoch. Kapoch is in a pretty good spot as well. I would imagine Kapoch probably wants to play into Knights with the Berbers. So we'll probably see a barracks at some point. But so far, he hasn't dropped one yet. It could just be Market Blacksmith. Maybe he gets to stone and gets into Camel Archers. But there are going to be archers on the way here from Veleza. There's also going to be scouts on the way from Elisako. So lots of feudal age aggression here from Finland. Archers and scouts. Scouts and archers. I'm liking what Gary's doing. I'm liking what Nikov's doing. Kapoch even, I could maybe see an argument. But I am a little concerned about Lucky. Like, I think if a single archer shows up and, uh-oh, there it is. Lucky is completely dead. He'll be pushed off of gold. He'll lose these villagers. He could lose these villagers soon after. I don't understand fully what they were expecting. They may have just assumed that it wasn't going to be scouts at all from Max because of Max's position. But he is Magyars after all. And 2 villagers go down just like that there for Lucky. Actually, was it 3? He had 3 there at one point. It was probably 3. Maybe he saved one. I was just kind of distracted there. He definitely is going to try and go for a castle, though. And he is up. And he needs to make sure he doesn't lose more villagers here. Weak villager needs to get inside the tower. And he needs to repair here. And that was really close. It could have been so much worse. But well played. Meanwhile, Kapoch has no army and is dropping a tower himself. There is a bit of support from Nikov with some scouts. So that's good. And remember, Gary is not going to make any army at all. Gary is just going to boom. So really greedy approach here from Finland. Sorry, not from Finland. It's been very aggressive from Finland. It's been very greedy from Argentina here so far. Oh, God. Oh, man. Another tower is being added by Lucky, and Lucky's just getting destroyed. He's down to 20 vils, and he can't get enough stone. And these feudal age openings from Finland working out so well on both sides. Like, Kapoch is also kind of dead here. It's just, I think they saw the positions and thought they could get a little too greedy here. Argentina. Nikov's the only one who made feudal age army. I would have loved to see Kapoch make some scouts or something. You have 1 player go fast castle, maybe 2, but 3 players going fast castle is crazy risk. Lucky's just going to sit here and take sheep until he has nothing else to take. And Catwatch is going to lose every single villager he has here. So Catwatch is going to be down below 20 vills as well. And I think it's the amount of scouts. It's the Hindustani bonus. It's the Magyars. It's the Huns. All these things kind of flowing together. And then, of course, Finland have found the perfect damage. Oh, man. Okay, tower goes up. Pretty sure archers could maybe still sit underneath that tower. But maybe they'd be a little close. So, I guess the castle will come up eventually for Lucky. So, we might get to Arambai. Catwatch is getting slaughtered. Man, this is... this is somehow even more brutal than the start to the series of the previous... at the start of the day, sorry. Like... It was bad with Canada and China, and I thought it can't get any worse. And now I'm looking at this and thinking it's gotten worse somehow. Nikov's scout presence didn't do an awful lot for his team, just because there were still 2 armies on the other side. Catwatch is at 15 freaking vills, guys. Make it 14 vills. Make it 13 vills. He can't take stone. He can't take gold. He barely has food. Like, what in the world? They've got no army. And again, I'm okay if you have Gary Boom. Like, I think having 1 player be greedy is okay. But 3 players being greedy just gets you punished big time here. I think they looked at the positions because of Vietnamese. And they felt like they would have the space. And at the end, they didn't end up having the space in the time they thought they would. So, not a great start for Argentina. Amazing start from Finland. Big confidence booster as well for Finland if you feel they need that. Like, I would say for Melisako and Amalius, they're going to be the 2 players that really want that confidence because they're not as experienced as the other 2. Archers and scouts coming through. There should be no hole there, but... Gary is going to need some answer to this at some point. Nikov's going to be here in support with some scouts, though. Castle will go up here for Lucky, and he's going to start to make Arambai. If he focus fires those archers, could kill quite a few of them as well. Malleus is in Castle Age, and Malleus will probably go into crossbow. It's very interesting to me that the Hindustani player went for archers. I didn't actually think about this still now. But the fact that he went archers was probably a big surprise for Lucky. Lucky probably thought, if anything, he would go scouts, because that's the more common approach. But I guess Finland felt like they didn't want double scouts. And now Max is going to go for CA with the Magyars. Yeah, Max is just playing such a good game. Super smooth eco. Walled up. Now, the Arambai could get through, kill some villagers here, but Max will have some cav archers around to deal with that. Catwatch we're not going to see much from. He's just booming and hoping his team can keep them in the game. And Gary got up to 40 villagers, but look how much idle time he has right now as he has to add some siege. The Arambai got through on Max. I assume Max noticed that, but it doesn't look like he's actually reacting to this. So maybe the Arambai will get back there. And it's a little problematic to defend with siege if Melisako also has the light cav around. So you do have to be careful if moving out with your siege if you're Gary. Melisako TC number 2, TC number 3. Might even see 4 as well with the Huns. Should feel pretty easy to do so. And Gary survives. Lucky gets some damage in here on Max. Definitely, like, Max definitely didn't notice those Arambai killing his wall villager earlier. And Max, I think, was more focused on pressuring Nikov than anything. So Gary is going to get coinage now. So he wants to sling somebody. Now, that could have been part of their initial strategy, is just have one player boom and then send res to someone else. But whether or not it was the start of the strategy, I think it's, like, definitely one of the best things to do now because you're super far behind. You got to prop up somebody. A nice shot from Lucky. Kills more villagers here. He's at 31 Vils, though, which is 20 behind what Amalius has. And Amalius has crossbows, which should be enough. 70 army for Finland, or 69 to be exact. 20 army for Argentina, and Argentina's still behind significantly in eco. God, what a brutal game for Kapwatch. He just got destroyed. Like, at least in Lucky's case, Lucky can offer something. Kapwatch is just... He's another guy in the voice channel with nothing to say right now. He's just hoping that someone can save him. I guess that would be Nikov. And Nikov's receiving the resources from Gary, so it makes sense. Nikov's also the best Argentinian, so they're going to put it all on him right now. He's going to go full Stravamshas. And he clears up the crossbows. He probably will be able to clear up the army that's around Kapwatch as well. So there's some positives here, but Nikov's going to need to get down here as well. There are a lot of archer units on the field for Finland, so maybe there's a chance with these Stravamshas, because that's what they're good against, but I would say it wouldn't be the craziest thing ever to see Amalius eventually go into camels. You think Kapwatch is saying a lot here? I don't know. I think if you're the guy who's in Kapwatch's position, you just don't really say much. You just... Everyone's a little bit different, but no one wants to hear the guy who's dead continually complain about how they're dead. Because it doesn't help the team. Ultimately, Kapwatch is doing what he can to try and come back into this game for later, if there is a later. And we'll see if there will be. I think you can still go Cav Archers against Stravamshas. I think crossbows you need to stop making, though. Because my opinion is... Excuse me, sorry. I've said this before. I actually don't think Castellate Stravamshas are very good. I know a lot of people disagree with me on that. But once that little dodge armor thing they have is gone, they die so fast to archers still, even with full armor. So I think Cav Archers can kind of hit and run enough to eliminate the dodge, which I still feel so uncomfortable saying. It's because it's not a dodge, but you know what I mean. Yeah, so they can hit and run enough, and then they just kill them. And then you just have a unit that's 75 HP with 8 base attack. It's not really a very strong unit against CA, in my opinion. Now, I think, like, Elites is maybe when things get a bit different, because there's a big stat increase. So that's where I wouldn't necessarily suggest going heavy Cav Archers against Elite Stravamshas. I actually haven't seen it that frequently, so I wouldn't be able to tell you. But Castle Age, I think this is fine. Lucky is trying to run because he's being slaughtered by Yellow. And now he's being slaughtered by Max. And Max must be feeling really good about his position. He's at 60 villagers. And here he is against the Stravamshas here. So let's find out. Like, this is a good test of my theory, right? That's a lot of Stravamshas. We'll see if Max can kill these off. Yeah, it felt like Max, he lost 1-2 units there maybe? And he killed 4 or 5? And now there's going to be camel support as well, which is maybe part of the reason Nikov ran away. Still CA here. We got CA from Veleza with the Knights from Molisako. And it's now a 100 economic lead for Finland. They are still up by 60 army. So this has not gotten much better for Argentina. And Argentina continue to get slaughtered here. I think we must be very close to the GG. I think Kapwatch is going to lose his TCs soon. Nikov is going to feel like he's making some progress, maybe. But it's really not enough, considering he's receiving full sling. And yeah, pretty soon these Knights are going to dive in to take out Kapwatch's TCs. And there's no defense for Kapwatch. No one's able to support Kapwatch, because the only guy that can do it would be Nikov. And Nikov's got bigger problems. Lucky's at 25 vils. Kapwatch is about to be down to 20 again. And Finland with the perfect start here, guys. Definitely puts a bit of pressure on Nikov too, right? And Nikov's someone who maybe the pressure can get to at times. Nikov's going to feel like he has to win the 1v1 next, if he's the one playing the 1v1. I think you have to pre-decide it in this tournament. You did in the qualifier, so before the series, you might need to say who's playing game 2. And they might have thought that they could win this game and then have Lucho play the 1v1. But yeah. Capoch finally getting to a castle with what? 35 vills? Castle will probably go up. But what on earth is Argentina supposed to do with this position? And yeah, the GG's called. It's been over for some time. The Shrivamshas weren't doing enough here. And Finland dominate the first game. It just really felt to me like I talked a lot about how Argentina would know exactly where the players are and that they could make decisions based on that. And I think they looked at their starting positions. Let's just go back to that for a second. Okay, so they looked at these starting positions. They saw Finland were so far away, and they never expected every single player from Finland to go for Fuel Age Army. They thought maybe 1 or 2. So I think Lucky thought, okay, if I'm up against scouts, I'm fine. I just wall in my vills. Gary's like, okay, I just go full army. Nikov's like, sure, I'll make a few scouts. And then Capoch thought, well, if I just go greedy fast castle. Capoch was the weird one for me. I would have liked him to go scouts because he's close to red. But even still, like, I think there was ways in their mind they could justify how they played it. And then 4 minutes into Feudal Age, there's 4 Feudal Age armies for Finland, and every single one of them did damage. It was just really good play from Finland. Nice execution there and nice coordination. And also the players who you might not know as much about, Belisako and Amalius for Finland, they performed really well. Good signs for the Finns. So, okay, folks, here we are, game 2. And Nikov is playing as the Goths, and the big story with this map and the Goths is you're going to see laming attempts right away. Nikov is going to bring in 2 boars. It's a race to the boars here. And Nikov has the other boar headed back this direction. Veleza sees that as well, and that's a weak villager, so Nikov has to be careful. But I had some things I wanted to say, but really have no time to do it on this map, because, again, it's always just a race to bringing in the boars. Nikov almost had 2 boars. Like, that one boar just ran back. So if he were to not get this one, that would be brutal for him. I think he's just going to kill it out here now. I think he's trying to block with the horse, and because of the Goth bonus damage, if he can't have it, he just wants to make sure it dies out here. And that's exactly what happens for Nikov. Still has this one, but he hasn't scouted that area. And now he's walling in this villager to kill off this one. So, Veleza could struggle a lot here. Remember, Goth hunt lasts longer. So, that's a good thing for Nikov with any boars that he does get. And he still has 3 boars along the backside. Veleza's only brought in 2. And won't really be able to bring in any more. So... Does this map gives you flashbacks, T90? Every time, Adam. Every time, dude. What crazy, crazy games we had on this map in USA Cup. I lost like 4 villagers in Dark Age. Well, it depends on which game. I don't even know which game you're referring to, Adam. I remember a game against, shoot. Why am I forgetting his name right now? American player who's obsessed with the Franks. Come on. What's his name? Well, that could be a lot of American players. The name will come to mind, but yeah. Nice to see you, dude. Now, Veleza walks around with his horse. Is going to see these these boars. Of course, when it's an elephant, I say boar, and when it's a boar, I say elephant. But I don't know if he could justify going out there to take him. And here, Veleza and Nikov trying to get as much as they can of the food. It's been a messy one, which is exactly what the Goths want. And I think that's smart. I think this is an underrated thing. Too many players just don't walk out here and take the food. If you've been lamed, you have to take what you can still. I'm a little surprised that Nikov wasn't fighting back with the villagers initially. Because I think, again, that's what the Goth player would maybe want. But Nikov has the other boars back here, which is maybe why he wouldn't want to fight with villagers. Yeah, it was Hamza. Hamza's the guy who I played in a best of 3 on this map. It's been a while. What do you guys think about this idea? A USA tournament called Who is Number 2? Because everyone knows, as far as the American scene goes, that Daniel is number 1. So anytime there's been a USA tournament, it's just been like, well, whoever matches up against Daniel gets wrecked. But if you do who is number 2, it maybe gets a little bit more interesting. There was a tournament called Who is Number 2 because Viper was winning everything, and it was never close. So that happened in like, I don't know what year that was, but that happened in the past for the whole scene. I think it's a decent idea. Mainly because I don't want to run into Daniel. So I think Nikov accomplished as much as he could have really asked for here. He had a big lead with the boar count, and he should have more resources to work with. But Byzantines are a dangerous civilization for the Goths the longer this goes. Just got to see, can Veleza get a decent enough feudal age time off this? Like, he doesn't have a lot of food underneath the TC. Had he not walked out to take this boar, it would have been a problem. But he's adapted very well. Let's see. He's got 87 food, and he needed 79 food. You've got to be kidding me. Talk about calculated there from Veleza. Great adaptation. Holy. Does he know, though, that Nikov has a barracks behind his base and is going to go man-at-arms, though? This is what we saw in the other series. Only this time, Nikov has such a big lead with food income underneath his TC. So he's got the potential to do this, and he's got Veleza in an awkward spot economically. I want to see... oh, hold on, missed something. I heard an attack. Oh, okay, just the horse went down there. I wanted to see res collected here. So Nikov's collected 300 more food. Yeah, so that's to be expected here at this point. Nikov's still finishing off the pigs as well, and Veleza hasn't had them for some time. And Veleza has no clue. He has no clue that Nikov is here with 4 militia. This is brutal for Veleza. He actually deletes the mill, and he's got to back away here. And this is all before this becomes man-at-arms. A lot of players wouldn't try and engage before man-at-arms, but I like this from Nikov because there's no scout or anything for Veleza to use. It's purely villagers, and there's lots of hills involved. And under pressure, Veleza gets some perfect quick walls down, but eventually he's going to chop through these trees. This is not going to be a great position for him. I'd like to see Nikov build an archery range, and he immediately places the archery range behind. Man, guys, Argentina got completely wrecked in the first game. Is not good. And Nikov has been a player who sometimes has let the pressure get to him, right? Imagine the feeling of like, I need to win this. I have to play my best. If I don't, I'm failing my country. It could get to you, and it could affect how well you play the game. But Nikov is just played flawlessly here. Perfectly according to game plan. Constantly active here with this horse as well. We'll see the range from Veleza. At the same time, amazing job from Veleza. Like, I think everyone watching this would have just died already. And it would not have been pretty. Still, he only lost his horse. He protects his wood line with the tower. And he's still in this game. He didn't skip any eco upgrades, which Nikov had to do to dish out this pressure. And even though he can't take his deer, even though his wood line's kind of rough, he's still in this game. And Byzantines are no joke. So, skirmishers behind this from Nikov. He didn't want to go archers because he knew the Byzantine player would probably go for skirms. And he's just looking to pile on the pressure. Now, there's one aspect of the map that I think the Goths could still be taking advantage of, and that's the hunt. Like, there's hunt out here. Nikov isn't taking any of that. So, I think denying it from your opponent and taking it yourself is ideal. We haven't seen that yet, as Nikov's now going to drop a tower here. Now, remember, you only have 2 tiles of gold next to your TC. Nikov's tower isn't denying the gold, and it's not protecting his own gold. So we might look back to the fact that Nikov chose to build his tower here as an issue there. But he's really just trying to thwart Veleza's ability to take food and take any type of control he can over the middle of the map here. Veleza will lose the house. But Veleza still took some of the berries, and he's just going to end up farming over here now. So, Let's see if Nikov notices the deer. This would be super lucky for him. To not scout it at all and find them immediately is huge. Velez is held on. Maybe, who knows? Maybe he wants gold. Maybe he wants wood. He could find another wood line here. That's probably what he wanted. But he is going to take the hunt as well. And now there is the new lumber camp for Veleza. But it's right next to the archery range. So all the military production from Nikov is right on top of this, which is so annoying if you're Veleza. Because how are you supposed to go forward if you continuously have army production right next to your wood line here? Someone says graphics look so bad. I don't know how long you've been here. Or what games you like. But the graphics are much better than the earlier versions. This is the best we've got pretty much, dude. I think it looks amazing. But yeah, I imagine if graphics is your thing, maybe Age of Empires isn't the game for you. I don't know. I've had those comments from friends. Like, that game looks so old. The graphics are so bad. I love the graphics, man. I think it's great. I also love how Nikov is going to take down this range. That's probably what the tower was for, because you eliminate the skirm production if you take out that range. It's a really interesting approach. That's one way to beat Byzantine in the skirm war, is you just take their archery range down. Thing is, I also really like that Veleza is thinking about a tower here, because then you don't have to respect this army production as much. But he doesn't have the tower yet. And this is still so much pressure from Nikov. And Nikov just will not stop. And I've seen better economies behind this. He doesn't have the mill on the deer. But he's just so focused on the attack all the time. And that's what Nikov is so good at, man. I think a lot of us got really used to the Definitive Edition graphics. If you go back and look at the classic graphics, they're actually very different. I say that classic graphics are really nostalgic for me, though. Like, if I load up a Fatslop game, I'm like, this takes me back to the good old days, you know? Veleza will get the tower down. Still somehow hasn't lost a villager this game, which is ridiculous. But Nikov has had the better economy setup overall. And Nikov's going to add a stable, mix in some scouts. There's a couple things Nikov could do a bit differently here. And then I think he can take this one. I think the mill needs to be up on the deer. Yep, that's the main thing. And then he just needs to focus with the rest of his villas around farming around the TC. He could always farm around the outside. And his archery range is not really going to be a factor anymore. Veleza's going to wall it in. But look at how inefficient Veleza's economy is back here. Look at the amount of buildings Nikov's built. He also got Town Watch, right? So look at all this vision. He's got all the vision on where his opponent will be and what his opponent will do. He's even going to build a house here. This house will give him vision over this area, too. And then Veleza's in the dark, and Veleza doesn't know there's scouts. He does react right away. I think he kind of sensed that this might be the next switch as well. But his skirms are going to get pushed back, and Nikov, again, continuing to pile on this pressure here. Perfect timing with the scout switch. Perfect execution of the strategy. It's the same matchup we saw in the first series today, but just very different results because Nikov has had a better Dark Age and has been perfect in the Feudal Age. And so I think now at this point, you might actually want to think about Castle Age. The scouts can still be microed this whole time. And, ooh, a tower. Remember, Nikov, he wasn't on stone to get another tower up. I think I have market events turned off. So yeah, he had to buy the stone there because he had built the initial tower. So it's actually really valuable that he had the market at that time, because otherwise he could have been pushed off of the gold there. And well played from Nikov. He counter towers. So she should be able to push this tower down. The spears from Veleza are coming, but they shouldn't be able to fully support this. Actually, Nikov might need to garrison a couple more vills in his own tower. It's a little awkward here, but this tower for Veleza shouldn't do too much. What happens with the units in the Walden archery range when ungarrisoned? If they're ungarrisoned, they get stuck on top of the range, so they can't move out of there. So they're still stuck in there. Sometimes you'll see players delete the archer range so they can move the units around, but again, they're still trapped. Velez is still in this game. Nikov's had a lot of idle time over the last few moments. And there's a lot of spears there for Velez. Like, this little trash army, if this could actually wander into the back of Nikov's eco, could be really problematic for Nikov. He did just find some stone, though, so he could always drop a tower somewhere. Velez using the market. Nikov using the market. Nikov's killed 2 villagers this game. Resources collected is close. Velez actually clicks up right before Nikov, and then there goes Nikov after that. So, Nikov still able to patrol around with these scouts looking for damage. I really like how he added another archery range for skirms, because you need something out there to kill the spears. But Nikov is very heavy on stone still. He's actually sending more villagers over to stone. So he wants a castle, and I believe a castle drop. I've seen it so many times where even if the units you're making out of the castle aren't that strong, just a castle in the middle of this map, it protects your TC and takes out your opponent's TC. It can end games before something like Huskarls come out. And now Nikov can see his opponent isn't on stone, so his opponent can't do the same. So that's all the more reason to consider it. And then if you want Huskarls, you'd normally be scared of cataphracts, but if your opponent can't drop a castle, it's perfect. So, sick stuff, man. I think Nikov's approach is perfect. I think we'll still see a knight or two just to get some map control, but Velez has stayed alive in this game, but he's struggled to get any type of counter damage as Nikov gets villager kill number 4 now. When Nikov is on point, he is so good, dude. I think a lot of viewers have maybe gotten used to the hype, and then sometimes Nikov isn't as consistent. But I felt like the last year or so, he's been a lot more consistent than maybe the year before. And, oh god, I'm so sorry, Nikov. We jinxed him a little bit there. But let's see the castle, and there's the castle! And there's nothing Velez can do about that. Nikov's going to make sure he gets that up. And Velez now is going to need to hold against Huskarls. You could maybe go for knights. You could maybe go for monks. But eventually, these farmers have to leave. The TC will go down, and that's going to be really nice for Nikov. What's the reasoning for playing Goths on this map? I mean, assuming you watch this whole game, there's a lot of aspects where only the Goths could specialize in, right? The villagers walking around early because of the instant loom. The villagers doing more damage against boars. The hunt lasting longer. All those things. You pretty much pick Goths for the Dark Age. Just the villager bonuses with the boars. And then, I mean, a lot of times on this map, we see lots of spearmen and skirmishers. And Huskarls, if you can get there, are perfect against that too, so I think Goths are one of the best civs. Now, Nikov's got to sort out that economy. What's happening there? Clearly, he's looking at this area of his economy, but he's got a lot of idols he needs to fix. And the TC is going to go down. And we got a counterattack now from Velez. There's a TC on the outside. So that should protect almost everything. It won't protect the gold for Nikov. And then Velez is going to have some knights, and he's going to have some monks. I mean, Velez can hold here. Velez can hold, and Velez actually has the possibility of doing damage with the counterattack because Nikov doesn't have monks or a TC here. And Nikov just gets the house walls up. Holy crap. It's actually perfect from Nikov. Very well played. As he ran in towards the monk, ran in towards the knights, and needs to back away towards his TC. So Velez is somehow going to stabilize this. He's got 2 TCs back here. It's only going to be 2 because he's going to lose this one soon. But he's got monks, he's got knights, and he's got good TC positions. He's got stone, he's got gold. He's not going away quietly. And maybe, like, Byzantines are absolutely better than Goths the longer the game goes on, especially if a castle comes up. So I think we have a really long game here, guys. Probably the longest Alpine game that we've seen in all the 1v1s so far in this tournament. Huskarls should be able to push most of that back. Nikov drops TC number 2. And Veleza, again, I have to give him a lot of credit for how he stayed alive in this game. But again, that's all he is doing. He has not been able to get much counter damage, and he needs to find counter damage. And that's easier said than done, obviously, against how Nikov has played this. Again, TC will go down, so just 2 TCs soon. Well, I guess 3 TCs for Veleza because he builds another one. Real quick, guys, I want to add the flags here because I think this looks much better. There we go. Okay, cool. Sorry we didn't have that. Now, I think a helpful addition for Nikov would maybe be some monks of his own. For snagging some relics, but just for healing your Huskarls and getting any conversions if knights come across the map. And as weird as it sounds, just because of how condensed his opponent's base is, it might be better for him to just chill out and not really create much more army here. That villager's just casually going to farm away. I think she's going to end up dying now. But yeah, I don't know if it helps you to make many more Huskarls right now and send it into the TCs and the monks. Huskarls could be needed back here, though. Here comes Veleza again, trying another counterattack. 20 more vills for Nikov. He's actually going to take out the blacksmith. I like that. Anytime you could take out your opponent's houses when they need pop space, or like blacksmith when they might eventually need upgrades. It's one of those things that if you can get away with it, it's kind of cheeky, right? Because for all we know, Veleza's not... He doesn't try and get the upgrades right now. But in a more critical moment, he tries to get it. And then he's like, crap, I don't have the blacksmith. And then he's off his timings. But I think Nikov needs to put an end to this. I thought he was going to kill this earlier. The Huskarls don't have any blacksmith upgrades. But still, 60 HP, 10 attack. There's only 2 knights in here. This should be a fight that Nikov wins. And I think, honestly, Veleza got way more value with this army than he could have ever expected. And Nikov's going to be happy to put an end to that. TC for Veleza. Guys, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a 4th TC, a 5th TC. Like, look at all the golden stone around the map. There's resources everywhere. This is going to be a sick game. This is going imp. I'd be shocked if this does not go imp. And if it goes imp, Byzantines, hand cannons, you know, cataphracts. They've got options. They've got really good options. No, I wasn't saying this was a TC. I was saying, like, okay, this is clearly a castle. Yes, thank you, chat. What I meant was, it wouldn't surprise me if we also see more TCs than there are now. This castle protects the area. Then we see another TC. Feels like a big army, big eco game. And now the cataphracts can come out. And you don't need a lot of cataphracts combined with a couple monks to deal with Huskarls. And Nikov's going to go for anarchy. I love the energy behind this from Nikov. To just YOLO spam Huskarls. That's what anarchy allows you to do from the barracks. I don't like what he's fighting into here. He's fighting into monks. He's fighting into cataphracts. That is an awful engagement for Nikov. That is as bad as it gets, really. He fought up the hill against strong units with no upgrades too. And Nikov is kind of falling apart. I think you have to remember with Byzantines, you can compete when you're down in res collected. Because a lot of your units are cheap. Or they have good value, right? And suddenly, Veleza is kind of back in business. And all those early bonuses that Nikov could get excited about are gone. Now Nikov's going to mix in pikemen. He doesn't have any of his Huskarls. What just happened? Pike and Huskarl's a good combo, but just pikemen now. And I think, knowing Nikov, he could start to sweat a little bit. He could just think like, oh man, I had this game. I love casting Nikov because he's just so messy at times, right? He's a player of such extremes. Like, anyone remember his game against Doubt in the 3v3 tournament? It was on Arctic Circle, I think? Like, that game was sick. And it was just so funny, right? Nikov had the lead, and then Doubt went YOLO, and things got wild. Nikov is going to go Cav Archers? All right. Goth Cav Archers are actually pretty good. Now, clearly, he's trying to think of things that he could do. Now, he's spreading out. We're going to have Huskarls maybe raiding the sides here for Nikov. That's really good if he can find damage. Remember, this barracks is still here from before, so he's producing from it. Veleza is on the way to the Imperial Age right now. And devotion research by Nikov is he's going to try and use that now to have the time to kill the monks. He will kill one of the monks. I don't know if he'll kill the second. The pikes are still here. I'd be fine with taking the engagements with the pikes against the katas. Yes, cataphracts are better than, say, knights against the pikes. But you still have a lot of units, and you just need to take some engagements here fast. Huskarl got converted over here, and now there's another one. This area gets defended, though. Veleza will build another castle. And Veleza's going to be imp. Veleza's going to be imp in 30 seconds. It's all falling apart for Nikov. And he can't exactly get raids in either when there's TCs everywhere. Not with pikemen, anyways. Nikov's collected 5,000 more resources. But does he have the units now? And can he find the damage? Veleza, I'd say first thing he needs to do is get chemistry here. Veleza needs to focus on ranged units here. I think he'll do that. The university's going up. Nikov also on the way to imp. So, cataphracts are good against infantry, but the infantry's cheap, and you can spam them from all angles, potentially, right? Veleza also snagged 2 relics. He may end up snagging a third. Sneak villager here from Nikov, though. Nikov might build some barracks in the back of Veleza's base. We've got pikemen. We've got cav archer. For Veleza, it is mainly eco and cataphract, but he's got plenty of resources right now. This villager, what should we name her? What does she look like? Definitely not a Jill. Definitely not a Jan. I don't know why we're going with J names. Brenda? Oh, that's definitely a Brenda. So Brenda has been selected because Nikov did select all idols, and he's sending Brenda back to work, I think. So Brenda might die. Oh, no. I actually think Brenda's very important. Oh, she's fighting! Well, that's not a very Brenda thing to do. I didn't know Brenda had the guts. Well, Brenda's dead. Rip Brenda. That actually might be important. I would think it'd be great for Nikov to have some barracks in the back there. I do that so many times, though, if I have sneak vills. I just select all my idols and send them to work, and then they run across the map. It's an understandable problem. Nikov at almost 200 pop, and an imp with Goths, you can get up to 210. He's got tons of army. It's just all kind of randomly spread out. It's pikemen and it's cav archers. And we have another castle from Veleza. Veleza's just been, like, soaking up damage all game. And he still hasn't been broken. And how are you supposed to break Byzantines? It's not going to be easy with this many castles. But Nikov will have plenty of golden stone as well. Nikov has plenty of time to get techs that he hasn't been working with. There's still 30,000 gold left on the map. Nikov's going to go for cav archers. Goths do get heavy CA. A lot of people forget that. Nikov really needs to snag bloodlines, though. So Halb cav archer for Nikov. I don't mind it. But I think cataphract skirmisher is superior for the Byzantines. Provided you can keep the units alive and get there. Because right now, Nikov is doing a great job of keeping track of this army. And then here, the cataphracts get in. Nikov doesn't have any vision in the south. If you look at his fog of war, and then look at Veleza's fog of war. Veleza has buildings everywhere. Guys, Veleza has somehow stayed alive in this game. What a performance. What a crazy game, man. He's going to have skirms on the field. Skirms could be great against everything he's up against. But then maybe we see Huskarls again from the Goths. It's just back and forth, back and forth. Nikov's castle will go up. He's dropping barracks at home. It's messy, but he'll be fine. The big thing Nikov needs right now is to put on auto farm. He's got a lot of farms expiring. He's got to sort out his eco here, man. It's been really inefficient. Let's look at the overall efficiency. Worker efficiency last minute, 58%. Worker efficiency overall in this game, 62% for 68%. It's just, Velez has done a great job with these little counterattacks at finding damage. And every time I look at Nikov, he's got villagers moving around. Castle, 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 castle. Probably soon another castle for Velez. Like, he's just setting himself up to be in the ultimate late game situation, and then he's going to put his foot on the gas with more cataphracts, I assume. But Nikov's got 80 army. He's got cav archers over here. He's got halbs over here. Velez can't keep up with him. How is Nikov in so many different spots at once right now? No wonder he doesn't have to focus on his farms. The guy's APM is through the roof right now. Crazy stuff from him. And as much as I'm confident in all the castles that the Byzantine player has, the fact that he's had to stack so many castles so close together is a sign that he hasn't really had a lot of control. His relics are also right here, by the way. There's 3 of them there. And he has kind of struggled a little bit when it comes to gold access. I'm sure he still has gold around, but couldn't take this gold, couldn't expand to this gold. Nikov could, in theory. Nikov's got a lot more villagers on gold right now. He's got 30 on gold. What's next? Elite Huskarl? Heavy Cav Archer, Elite Huskarl? Halb? Certainly have the gold available for it if you're Nikov. These cataphracts are not elite, remember. Nikov fixing that economy and trying to push the castles. Here comes relic number 4 casually. Back for Velez. Velez takes out the bombard cannon. Velez almost 200 pop. Still no elite cataphracts. I think you need that upgrade. Nikov's going to go heavy scorpion. He's doing everything. Well, scorpions are affected by ballistics now. What do you guys think about that choice? I mean, in theory, scorpion could be better than, say, cav archer if there's skirms out. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Okay, so this castle will actually be denied, or at least delayed, because of the patrol from Nikov, meaning that Nikov's will probably go up. I don't foresee this castle staying up, but it's just pressure from Nikov. Here we go. Bombard cannon gets sniped again, so that's been an issue here for Nikov. I don't know if I like heavy scorpion in this situation because they're very clunky and very hard to control, but certainly the fact that they're affected by ballistics now for every civilization plays its role. And you have the halbs in front of the trep. And there's a lot of pressure here on Velez. It was a much better fight than I was expecting. This castle was denied. Nikov's castle is going to go up. Nikov's pressure is non-stop here. And he does have 3 workshops fully queued with scorpions now. I kept waiting, guys. I kept feeling like eventually Velez was going to be able to get the text and the numbers and you know, make it happen. But Nikov has just been on top of him non-stop. And it has not been easy for Velez to get the text. He did get elite cataphract now, but he only has 12 of them. It just feels like too much pressure. And now Nikov's going to drop another castle on him. Another castle forward. This one's actually on the gold. And then this army's still back here, kind of protecting the stone and the gold. There are bombard cannons for Velez. So he's not finished yet. Those bombard cannons are there for the scorpions. And Nikov snipes the bombard cannon with the CA. And that's actually a really decent fight here for Nikov. The halbs in front, scorpions behind is perfect. Say goodbye, cataphracts. And still these 2 trebs are firing on this castle. There's no more stone income for Velez. So if he loses his castles, he's not going to get more of them. And he doesn't notice that Nikov has dropped a castle here. Nikov is just simply faster, man. He's simply just bringing more speed to the table. Velez is still trying to hold. And I think he can. I actually think he can. The Skirm Cataphract Bombard Cannon will kill 1 Treb. We'll kill 2 Trebs. We'll kill 3 Trebs. We'll kill the Scorpions as well. Bombard Cannon goes down, which is pretty brutal. But he's still holding on here somehow. And Nikov's Cav Archers just killed more villagers back there, though. Now Nikov's going to switch to Elite Huskarl. So Nikov's, like, researched so much in this game. We're seeing everything, man. But he doesn't have attack upgrades or armor upgrades for the infantry. And that's going to be important. This castle is also huge. The Treb coming out to pressure this castle is amazing. These CA were relocated to get the raids. These Huskarls keeping an eye on the stone. So yeah, Bombard Cannons are the best play against Scorpions like this. But I think Nikov has reached a point where if he gets Perfusion, he could just go full infantry. And even against Cataphracts, he could just run in there and snipe the Bombard Cannons. I'm still not a fan. Like, guys, Nikov needs to get his farm count up. He needs to get more than 27 on food. But he's constantly focused on the engagements. There's Perfusion now. Scorpions are starting to get picked off here. The Bombard Cannons are really tricky to deal with here. Maybe Nikov should not rely on the Scorpions after all. He's backing away. This is getting awkward for him, but he's still got the pressure over here, and this is all that matters, right? Maybe you can give up the middle if you take the north with all this gold. And he hasn't lost the middle yet. Still holding. Still has upgrades he needs. But look at those resources for Veleza. What's the number of Cataphracts where the Goths just have no chance, guys? Like, let's say Veleza's going to run out of gold before Nikov, right? But if he can just use the gold that he has right now to get to a certain number. I'm thinking, you guys think 40. 40 with Logistica? I agree. Is it 20 now? And Nikov's definitely going to lose this castle. And Nikov's got to fix his eco and wait for that to kick in. He's just doing that now. Nikov's going to lose another Bombard Cannon. Velez is up to 50 on food. Velez is still got... I mean, he's so little gold. He only has 700 gold here and then this gold. That's it. But he does have 4 relics. Is Veleza going to win this game and come back from the dead again? Or are Byzantines ever out of it? Oh, man. Oh, no, not the Bombard Cannons! Well, good luck getting Bombard Cannons back. I think it's so helpful for Nikov that he has control of this gold. I'm looking around for his gold access. He might run out as well. But no, he's still got really good control on the different areas. We'll even drop a castle here. I think heavy CA Halb is maybe the safer play than committing to Elite Huskarl all the time. But at the very least, Nikov needs to make sure he gets those attack upgrades in. I love the consistent focus on stopping Veleza from taking resources. Like, at the end of the game, if Nikov wins this, it will be because of that more than anything. He's just continually pressuring somewhere else. Right when Veleza starts to stabilize a position, Nikov's like, nope, never mind. Sniping his monks here. Beautiful play. And these raids on the side make me... They're building up my confidence in Nikov here. He has both unique techs. He's got 50 on food now. He's got attack upgrades coming in. Halb, Huskarl, heavy CA, and Veleza just can't breathe. It must be so frustrating to have to deal with this. He does take a fight on top of the hill with Cataphracts, though. He does have 30 CA. Or not CA, sorry, Cataphracts. I guess technically that's CA. CAT? Huskarls from Nikov? This is the danger with Goths, right? It's like, whoop! Right away, you got new Huskarls to respond to a Treb. That's why you want to build barracks everywhere. You almost want to use your barracks like you would use stables for other civs. Just sneak them into corners and spam infantry into their eco. Huskarls are also really cheap compared to a Cataphracts. Halbs don't cost any gold. I think I would be really fixated on these relics if I were Nikov. but I probably wouldn't be as fixated in this corner anymore. And I think the relics are less important than the corner for now. But the relics will be important. And look at this, dude. Look at this. For a second, Velez is exposed, and Nikov just auto-produces out of the barracks and snipes 1, 2. He's going to get at least 3 of these bombard cannons. If he had Blast Furnace, the bombard cannons would have gone down so much faster. He didn't get 3, actually. But Nikov's winning the fight here. And he's repairing this castle, and he's probably going to bring his army over here to deal with this. Man, Perfusion is insane. Yeah, Nikov's just... Oh, he's got the perfect position. Nikov might have him now. This is way too big an army for Veleza to deal with. His siege also cannot escape. There's no way this siege gets to safety now. So it's expected the Treb goes down. It's expected the bombard cannons go down. Nikov over here is being trebbed, so that's interesting. We'll see. He might lose that castle. But he will take out the siege and defend here like we expected. Veleza back on this stone. Veleza back on this gold. 12k gold left on the map. And 1,100 of it... 3,500 of it is here. And then there's the relics. And now Velez is pushing back this castle. What a game. Velez is still not dead, man. Big halberd, though. Ooh, nice raid there from Nikov. But Velez's castle should protect the stone and the gold. This castle's nice because then you just don't have to think about this anymore. I don't know. The Scorpions... I don't know if they ever really impressed me much. Veleza, for the first time in a long time, is thinking about raids. He's going to try and raid with Hussar. Nikov's got idle villagers. He doesn't have castles up here. Guys, I think Veleza can still win this freaking game. What's happening? The Scorpions for Nikov went down. Nikov can't raid over here anymore. Nikov is losing his trebs over here. He could lose his castle over here. Veleza could get access to more gold. The raids in the north have found value. Nikov has 48 on stone? I think he just sent all of his idols to stone in a panic. I hope it's not 48 on the same stone. There's not enough space there. What in the world? Maybe he's come down to this stone as well. Nikov does not have a CA mass anymore. Nikov is starting to go for his own cav upgrades, and maybe just a really bad sign if that is what he is doing right now. Veleza has continually taken good engagements. He's had the better army. He stayed in this game after the rough start. And what do you think about when you think long-term in a game? You think relics? Advantage Veleza. You think castle positions? Advantage Veleza. And then you think tech tree? Advantage Veleza. And wow, Nikov didn't have bloodlines for his cav archers this entire time. Which I actually remember thinking in Castle Age, but it completely slipped my mind. Clearly slipped his mind as well. So his cav archers were way squishier than they really should have been. Veleza's got access to more than enough gold. And he's in a position now to get access to this gold. This is pretty much all the gold that's left. The corner Veleza has, which he has locked down. And then this area here. That's it. There's not much more gold to mine, really. Love to see Veleza get Logistica. Get even more value from these cataphracts. But these cataphracts are owning, dude! They're owning! Veleza's insane! How has he stayed alive? Nikov said so much pressure at him all game. But the skirms, the katas, the siege, even the monk healing. Which is such nice value here. It's perfect, guys. And you can just tell, looking at Nikov's eco balance, that he's completely falling apart. He's going from like 40 on food to 20 on food to 0 on wood to 50 on wood. He's just transferring vills all around and trying to stabilize. 72 on gold. He's got 38 of those villagers here. And he has no army here to defend it. He has to try and engage against this to save them. And if he engages, he probably loses the engagement. There's also, like, nothing in this corner anymore for him. Where are we on wood? Still 100k, I guess. And Nikov, most of Nikov's wood's going to be towards the north now. It's a shame. I think a lot of people are thinking maybe throw right now for Nikov. But it's always going to be a really difficult matchup for the Goths here. That's expected. For any Civ, really. And Veleza... Like, Nikov had him on the ropes so many times. Nikov obviously still in this game. But does it get any better for him tech-wise? I'm not so sure. There's 4 relics for Veleza. Will bring him a trickle of gold on top of the gold that he's just gained access to. And then he is in the better gold position. So he can continue with this comp. Right now, more than anything, he really just needs skirms. Like, skirms handle the CA and skirms handle the halbs. That is not where you want your cav archers if you're Nikov. I like the castle here from Nikov because that protects the north, which was vulnerable. I like this castle too because that protects them from raids. I think Nikov maybe needs to try to get a bunch of Huskarl numbers. Just hope that the Huskarls can clear out the skirms. I don't know what else to suggest. You have to try Huskarls. That or just a bigger ball of CA, I guess. But he's at 200 pop already. Veleza stacking a Treb there perfectly. Has stonewalled this area. Still lots of stone and gold available over here. Veleza was thinking about a castle there on the hill. That would be a castle that you place if you feel like you can go for the kill. I would say that maybe a castle here just to take this gold is more than fine. Nikov trying to raid with random Huskarls. This really needs to be walled up by Veleza. And big fight. Here we go. Big fight. There are halbs on Cataphracts. This is before Logistica completes for Veleza. Logistica is a crazy upgrade for the Catas when they take their engagements. And honestly, most of the Catas have gone down. Nikov may be taking a good enough fight here. But Veleza will have Logistica. He's got Hussars in the queue. He's got so many resources to work with. He's taken the score lead. And Nikov's army count is so low compared to what it was before. He used to have 70 army at all times. Now he's just at 50. Oh, man. Remember, whoever plays in this game cannot play later on in the 2v2. So to miss out on Nikov and then be in that 2v2 and then be down 2-0 would be so painful for Argentina here. But Nikov doesn't have a single relic up against 4 relics, up against Byzantines. And this is not looking good. If Veleza gets this castle up, it would be maybe the game-ending position for him to lock down. It locks down the side. It locks down the stone. It locks down the gold. But Nikov denies the castle and snipes the bombard cannon. Sick find from Nikov. A little sloppy from Veleza as Veleza gets some Castle Age Eco upgrades that he should have had a long time ago. Here come the Vils to probably finish that castle now. There's enough army here to protect it. Ooh, hold on. An opportunity here. I'm not sure what happened. I thought there were walls. Now Nikov's going to aim to snipe the trap. So Veleza's got 0 on gold right now. So this gold on the right side is huge. In fact, this is the only gold that's really remaining on the map, guys. This 300, this 3,500 gold is all right here. So Veleza gets it. Veleza gets it, and then his civilization has cheap spears and cheap skirms and solid enough cav, right? So, big advantage for Veleza. And he has the relics. But Nikov has score lead. If Cataphracts aren't an issue, is this winner... Like, let's say all the gold gets mined. Veleza still has the relics. But he can't justify making Cataphracts because 4 relics can't really afford you a lot of Cataphracts. I could see full halb spam and skirms working for the Goths. Just because the halb spam so quickly. Production speed and also they're cheap as well, right? There's also stone here, which Nikov might take. But I guess Cataphracts are an issue. And if Nikov loses this corner... loses this position, he probably loses the game. So he's desperately trying to hold this position right now. And it's Halb CA. Still only like 14 Cav Archers, but the Halbs have done a good enough job. The Halbs are also... Look at Nikov dropping barracks here. The Halbs are also pestering away at the Trebuchets. And now another castle for Veleza. Oh my goodness. And that means he'll probably take control of that 1,500 stone and get 2 more castles out of it. Nikov, 200 population. Veleza, 30 population. The fight from these two has been unbelievable. Right when you think one player's going to break, they refuse to. It's been the whole game, right? So many people were saying this was over 10 minutes ago and that Nikov would finally lose this one. But he just keeps coming, guys. And he's going to take the Treb. He's going to take a Bombard Cannon. This is extremely wasteful for Veleza, who doesn't have cataphract numbers anymore. And he probably can't believe it. He's got like 7 castles. And Nikov is still finding damage. What a game. And I think a lot of it is just Nikov's got barracks everywhere and his units produce instantly. And the rally points for Veleza are all jumbled up because he's been having to produce and fight on both sides. So it just hasn't been easy to pay attention to every detail. And also, cataphracts. You're just not seeing them anymore. It's been mainly hussars. I think he needs to get back to the skirm numbers, honestly. This is Nikov's final moment. Because Veleza is trying to stabilize things. And I thought he was going to have this gold locked down, but he doesn't. And so Nikov will have Trebs, Nikov will mix in some Rams, and he could actually take this gold back and maybe do it. The left side's not as important because there's only 100 gold there, and Nikov might take that. But the right side is kind of everything right now. Not to mention wood becomes a talking point. The wood is actually where, you know, the left side is important for Nikov. Nikov snagging some eco upgrades. Nikov re-patrolling his halbs here. Skirm count is getting higher for Veleza. He's got no gold income except for those 4 relics right now, though. And if Nikov sees an opportunity to snipe the Bombard Cannon, you know he's going to try it again. But this time, Velez is paying attention. And Nikov loses some of his Cav Archers there. Nikov may try and use Hussars here to snipe that Treb, but it's all walled in. Good luck killing villagers elsewhere with these castles defensively for Veleza. Veleza has a lot of stone to repair yet, but there's Rams now. And so Rams with the Halbs are the issue. And Nikov's been able to take some of this gold at least. He did also snag 1 relic. He's up to 60 on food with crop rotation. So as farms reseed, having crop rotation becomes huge. You're saving a lot more wood in what is essentially a wood game. I said we would go imp. I didn't think we'd go this far into the game. And Argentina needs this win to tie up the series. Otherwise, they have to win 3 straight team games against Finland here. I think the extra little population space that Goths have and the crazy spam speed of Goths is making a massive difference here, guys. And Nikov's just straight up tenacity has been unbelievable. He's got 25 Hussars. He's got 30 Halbs. He's got Rams. He'll take this castle down. And you have to be really careful right now if you're Veleza that you don't lose the Bombard Cannons too. Because if Nikov sees those, he will pounce on them. I could hardly believe the game that we've seen here because I thought both players were dead at so many different points. And Nikov sees the Bombard Cannons, kills the Bombard Cannons. He will take the castle. And even though they're both almost max pop, advantage Nikov as he gets control over this gold, finally. And here come the Vils to take it. Now, the crazy thing is, there's no castle up here for Nikov anymore. So he could be raided, and he's got 50 lumberjacks. But the gold means you can make Huskarls. Or maybe you just use the gold for CA, I'm not sure. But I feel like being able to make some Huskarls could be really important against so many skirmishers. Now, there's like, how much gold is here? There's 1,800 gold here. There's still a little bit over here. 1,800 golds could get you up to a Cav Archer mass that you're happy with. You also might want to use some gold for just rams at this point. When there's limited golds, you'll see players just use all their gold for siege usually, so. But 1800 is pretty significant. I think it's really smart that Veleza is starting to go into infantry upgrades. I think he's prepping for the stage where he just has to go for pikes himself. I don't know if he's fully prepared to do that, though. And Nikov is finding the pickoffs. I don't think Veleza can easily get the gold to go for Halb himself. That's a lot of gold. Veleza is actually running really low on wood, too. It's actually worth it to just chop all the forward trees that you can. Right? Chop the exposed wood while you can before it gets bad. Nikov has no trees in the back anymore. There's only 50,000 wood remaining in this game. And it would have started in the hundreds of thousands. We've seen almost 2,000 units die in this game. Nikov has 30 more villagers, though. Just has to be careful with his cav archers. I don't think it's worth losing all your gold units here against skirms. We even have fortified wall from Veleza. He's desperate to hold this area in the north. I love the Hussar play from Nikov. Who would have thought? Goth cav archers. Goth Hussar. Goths beating Byzantines in late game. Really curious on the amount of production building. So what is it? 5 ranges. We got how many stables in total? Probably more ranges too. So there's only 7 stables for Veleza. Nikov has 16. And then Nikov has, with barracks, 15. So Nikov's just got so many buildings. No wonder he always has more army. And then he also has the Goth bonus of the extra production speed as well. Yeah, I think the key for Veleza is Halb. You need 600 gold for that. And oh boy, he's going to get back over here to the gold. Nikov's going to notice that. Oh, and Nikov's going to take the relics. That's huge. That's so smart. I think you take the relics and you keep constant focus on this. As long as he can't take them back, you're happy. You don't even need to steal them yourself. There's 700 golds here that Nikov gives up. But I forgot the relics were on the front. And choo-choo, choo-choo. Nikov comes in with the rams. But now 0 gold income for Veleza until he takes this gold. Does Nikov have a monk on the way? Oh, here he comes. Pick it up, old man. Pick it up. Come on. Go get that relic. TCs are also huge in late game, right? Players are continually producing bills. Grinding down TCs is really important. The monk died. Villagers will die. But I still really like the progress Nikov has made here, despite the fact that it's become so much harder to break Veleza on this side now. I refuse to believe that Veleza will be broken because of this. I refuse to believe that we are anywhere close to finish of this game. There's 50,000 wood remaining. I think this game continues. We got raids from Veleza in the back. He's finding damage too. He's kind of holding here. Sort of, kind of. The Hussars are looping around at the back corner of his base. Both players are taking damage. And sure, Veleza doesn't have relics temporarily, but he does still have army nearby where the relics are. He can always reclaim them, and he's mining gold right now. Nikov's lost a lot of vills too. What a game. What a crazy game. Man, the Hussar count from Nikov has been sick. The Hussar count from Nikov has been sick, and we haven't seen a lot of Halbs from Veleza yet. He did get the upgrade, but the Hussar meat shield has pushed back that wall of skirms. And the cav archers that Nikov has remaining really help out once the Halbs come in too. Oh wow, Nikov also killed a Treb here with Halbs and is going to send the Halbs directly towards the corner. Nikov has really impressed me here. He's so fast. It's very rare that you can tell someone is just faster than Veleza. And the GG is called! Nikov wins it for Argentina. Never a doubt. Never a doubt in my mind. He produced 745 halbs. He had hussars galore on the field, and I think Veleza at this point just didn't feel like he had anything. And look at his resources remaining. He's really stuck. He can't afford much. He did have some units in queue, but it was only like 15 units. And when everything's out of the queue after you resign, he only had 934 food. And I think Veleza just felt the pressure, knew he would never get the relics back, and that Nikov had full wood control at this point. What a game. And now 1-1 here in the full series. Argentinians are going to be pumped about that, and they'll go into game number 3 in a 3v3, where, of course, Nikov and Veleza can play. Where they will not be able to play is the 2v2, which is game number 4. So Nikov, despite not having the relics, he still collected more gold in that game just because of more map control. He had a lot more wood there. Look at the KD. I really thought Nikov had lost the game. What could Veleza have done differently? I think, I'm just really surprised that Veleza got outproduced, I guess. I think Veleza might have just needed more production buildings, in all honesty. That's the one thing that was the big difference. 6 stables on this side, and Nikov's got 13 stables in the middle. I think the Hussar numbers were, even though they both produced similar amounts of Hussars, it felt like the speed of the reinforcements was the biggest thing there for Nikov. I think that, and Veleza never had a ball of 40 katas. He never went for a big, massive katas. He always just had a few. And I think if he had a bigger ball of cataphracts, he could have maybe snowballed. He had this hill at one point, and had he pushed any further, Nikov might have tapped. What a game. And now we have a series. All right, game 3. Let's get the flags up here and get ready for this. Hopefully this game's as crazy as game number 2 was. Nice bounce back there from Argentina. I think it's safe to say that Nikov basically saved the series for them. I think Finland is too good to have gone down if Veleza won the previous game. But now it's 1-1. We've got Nikov as the pocket playing as the Slavs. As flank, we've got Lucky playing as the Portuguese. And then the other flank is Lucho playing as the Malay. The Boers are on the outside on this map. I think it's really bad map script, honestly. I think it can be really unfair and really brutal at times. And Lucho is going to be lamed because Veleza understands that the maps are rough. Everyone does, because they run out and immediately try and take their boars. But that is going to be a boar down here for Lucho, just because he exists. It's just extremely unlucky, really. At the end of the day, we're trying to see, where's that boar? Oh, so the other boar for Velez is over here, So there's no way that one gets lamed. Max actually even brought his scout over to support, and that's a great start for Finland. So Velez has got Britain flank. We'll have all of his cows, plus he's going to have 3 boars. Amazing position here for Finland already, just because of the start. You've got Burgundian's pocket. Really nice pick here. We saw it earlier today. It's a good civilization when you can focus on the eco. You start with the farms, early eco upgrades, good cav. Perfect for a player like the Max. Could be a little dicey there for Max. And then last but not least, first time today for Finland, I think. Did Amalius play game number 1? No, actually, I think he did play game number 1. It was just such a stomp. Everyone from Finland was getting kills. So I probably don't remember giving him a lot of credit there. He's just playing as the Koreans here. And we have a pause. I actually think it's possible, because the lame happened so fast that Lucho thinks he didn't start with a boar, and they're pausing to ask the admins. I don't know if he even had time to locate his boar and see that it was stolen. So it's possible. It's also plausible. It's also plausible. Ooh, that's good. But yeah, that sets him back big time. That's a 600 food swing. And Malay are going to struggle to at least go fast castle now. But thankfully, they do have other bonuses, and advancing faster to the next stage feels kind of smooth with them. Yeah, if the admins are around as well, I'm really curious. It could just be that maybe someone's cat wandered into the room and they need to be kicked out because they're swatting their chair or something. But The only thing that seems natural game-wise, if there is a game reason, is that right now, Lucho thinks that he doesn't have a boar.
Yes.
And there was a pause from Lucho, and then they restart. So, I'm guessing could have been that, could have been something else. But Veleza just did the right thing. Like, all my practice sessions basically just told everyone, take your boar right away, and then you run forward and try and steal your opponent's resources if you can. But I personally I find it to be... Like, if this was my tournament, I would adjust it, and I would have the boars right inside the walls. Or I would make it so if the boars are going to be forward, they're forward for both players. Like, Veleza having his boar all the way back here, it didn't do anything to earn that, right? And then Lucho had both his boars in the front. You can't take both boars right away. If you do it, it comes at a great sacrifice. So, I just think it's really unlucky and really unfortunate for Lucho. And it will affect his build somewhat now. Team Scout fight. Team Scout fight. I don't know who's winning. Game also sped up there. Looks like Amalius is running back. And then we got Nikov chasing. And then we have Max chasing. And then we have Lucky chasing. Looks better for Argentina, actually. And we'll see if the flanks choose to go aggressive with archers. I would expect Veleza will do so. Here comes Veleza's scout. Great work from Finland. But then Lucho's here. Oh! And Lucho shows up. But now Nikov's scout is dead. All very weak scouts here, but it looks a little bit better for Argentina, I guess, because of Lucho's HP. Now, Koreans could go tower rush, they could go archers, or they could go defensive war wagons. Really tricky to know what the Koreans are going to send your way. I think they're really underrated flank civilization, too. Portuguese, similar. You're probably not going to see a tower rush from Portuguese, but you could see archers. You could see defensive castle drop, right? Or forward castle drop, but I think that's a little too risky. Seems like it's probably an archer build here for Lucky, if anything. And probably the same here for Amalius. Now, what is the biggest reason that Britons are either a must-pick or a must-ban in team game tournaments, chat? Help me learn. What would you say? Muslet says, hi, T9 million. Thank you for everything. XOXO. If I meet T9 million, I'll let him know you thought that. Cheaper TCs? No. It's all because of the team bonus. So it's not about what the Britons do individually. It's the fact that their team bonus is archers produce faster. And so it affects multiple players. And when you have multiple players going archers, that really plays a big role. So I think they nerfed the team bonus, right? It used to be like 20% faster producing. And oh boy. Hello. Just passing. Everybody wants a tower rush over here. So I think they moved it down to 10% from something else. But both teams drafted Britons, and only Finland chose to play that this game. So we do have to keep that in mind. I think Argentina is probably saving the Britons for Arabia. So it was a just passing. And now Amalius has to decide on what he wants to do. And, I mean, obviously there's going to be a tower, and we're just going to see Lucky build a counter tower now. Lucky's also making archers, though. I think this is a pretty good spot for Lucky. Lucky should be able to hold okay from this. Amalius will try and be as stubborn as possible. Meanwhile, we got a tower from Lucho. And it's actually the same situation, right? We have Veleza going archers and building a defensive tower. I think the approach from Lucio would have been different if he didn't lose the boar. But because he lost the boar, he felt like he had to try this. And, ooh, wow, Lucky actually ran out here. Malleus tried to wall this up so villagers couldn't get through. He's going to get a full wall around. Now the vills can't escape unless he deletes his own walls. And a villager died. There's also a scout here from Nikov. Nikov is making more scouts, and so is Max. And another villager goes down for Amalius. Beautiful play, beautiful defense here from Lucky on this side, but we could have a similar thing for Lucho. Lucho's got to be careful. Because Max might have his scouts hit over there. We've got Nikov's scouts chasing down Amalius, and Amalius is he's just been swatted away from Lucky's base. Beautiful job from Argentina. And a really nice start here. If they can kill all 3 of these vills, Amalius is so far behind. Look at him chase, too. He might actually continue forward here and build another tower. Actually, now that I say that, he doesn't have the stone for that. Don't open the gate. I think you have to let these vills die. Yeah, because if you run in that gate, Nikov will hold it open. And Lucky probably just needs to go home now. You know you have a villager lead, so just go home and play safe. Things could be fine. Wait, Veleza lost his tower? Did Veleza give his tower up? I'm sorry, I need to go back. Yeah, he just gave up his tower. Wow, okay. That's surprising to me. I wouldn't have expected that. And the archers for Veleza went where exactly? He only made 2 of them? And they are... Oh, they're standing there. Okay. So he's going to make a new tower, which is a bit weird. And he's going to eventually just send archers inside that to shoot that down. And Lucho's just running home. I love the fact that Lucho's running home. Because Max is going to be on the prowl. And you don't have armies, so you don't want to take unnecessary losses. Nice micro here from Nikov. There is a spearman there, so he has to be careful. Remember, he is Slav, so he should be in a really nice spot economically, but it's up against the Burgundians, who are going to be in arguably a better spot economically. Here come the archers to support Nikov. And so archers and scouts from Nikov and Lucky headed towards the Max. There's no reason to go to Amalius at this point. He's probably just going to play tower defense, and you already set him back. Going towards the pocket does make sense, but it also takes a long time for the archers to get here. Veleza rewalled this after taking out the tower. And yeah, Veleza's had a really nice economic game. It feels like Max could probably clear this up on his own, and Max feels like it as well. Max is going to dive. It's really hard to micro down the spears right now if you're lucky. And Max with a great clear up, I think anyways. It's pretty close. He got forging. He also got armor. Nikov didn't have any upgrades. And honestly, in the end, I think that's a pretty good fight for Max because he was 1v2. But Nikov is on the way to Castle Age faster than the Max, which is arguably a bigger deal. So he can drop TCs. He can make knights faster. What's the plan here for Lucky? Lucky doesn't have the resources to click up anytime soon. He lost most of his archers. Amalius has actually adapted his eco pretty nicely. He's going to click up to Castle Age, and he will maybe get to a castle. He's definitely going to have enough stone for a castle when he makes it to Castle Age. Lucho doesn't have any army. He did make a defensive tower on the gold. He's going to click up soon. But there's an army issue, I would say, for Argentina right now. Because Max is obviously going to have Cav. Now, Max is the outlier here. Max is the one who's going to be later to castle. But it's going to be war wagons from Amalius, and it's going to be Britain archers from Veleza. It's going to be really tough for Argentina to stop. And Lucho did not fully wall this. I'm really surprised by this. If you know your opponent doesn't have... if you know your opponent's going to pressure you, I feel like you want to have house walls here. But he will scramble down a tower real quick. I think Nikov will be here to help him out. So might not be too bad in the end. Nikov in Castle Age now. And now it's pretty important for Veleza to back away with the archers. Yeah, I don't think the fish are ever worth it on this map with how the map is designed. So I think it's too risky, and you can't build on ice, so it's actually more inefficient than you might think. I said before, I think it's a bit of a shame, right? Like, the design of the map clearly is to have some incentive to go out there, but the way they balanced it, I think, is... There's just too many reasons to play safe, especially when the stakes are so high. Great find from Nikov. Still feeling so good about the performance in the 1v1. And yet again, he's on top of Veleza. Showing Veleza what he's made of. Weakens a couple archers there. Nikov TC number 2. TC number 3. Interesting TC spot here. I kind of like it. It protects the inner gold as well, just with the positioning. And you can take some fish. And then there's the expected castle from Amalius. What will we see from Lucky? I think he might eventually drop a castle, but he won't be able to drop it right away. Lucky just kind of has random archers that I don't think will contribute a ton. But let's see. Well, they could contribute enough to keep the pressure on Max right now. That's where all the pressure is coming in. Nikov is just going to attack Max's production. This makes it rather uncomfortable for Max to expand and for Max to make decisions, right? And he goes for a knight, and then he queues Cavalier. So because he's trying to get Cavalier in Castle Age, he can't actually get the numbers now because one of his stables is upgrading. A lot of other times when I see players go for Cavalier and Castle Age, they actually have 3 stables. So it's 2 stables producing, and then it's 1 stable that's researching. But here, he might actually lose the research as well, which would be crazy. Yeah, he's going to lose the research. Oh, man. So now he loses future production, and he loses the Cavalier upgrade. And, man, if they just realize this, I think they could actually dive here. I understand the hesitancy, maybe, because they don't... Nikov doesn't have armor yet. Maybe Lucky is screaming, asking for support right now. But I think they could have actually continued on engaging there. Wow, so Lucho is getting coinage, guys. And remember, he's had no army this game. And he also hasn't received any pressure. And so Lucho is going to turn this into a sling. Now, when you're 3 TC booming and trying to sling, it's tough. What we might see is he idles Vil production and doesn't produce much. But coinage reduces the tax on sling. And he's going to send resources to Nikov. And for now, he's just going to sling Nikov gold. And why not? Like, just let Nikov carry the game right now. He's already ahead of Max. And he's already played so well today. Nikov in World Desert Championships for Dreamers, basically Argentina, played like a beast. And now, in the qualification for this event, and now the main event, I think Nikov's played phenomenally. And he's just going to dive right on top of these crossbows as well. Nikov is playing like a player who cannot be stopped. Maybe one of the best players in the tournament right now. And, I mean, there's not a lot wrong with his gameplay, is it? 62 villagers on his own and receiving sling. Take a good fight, back away towards the monks. He's about to have 20 knights. 20 knights at 24 minutes after he went for a scout rush. And the sling is going to play its role and now, but like he did a lot of this with his own eco bounce as well. Also love how Lucky's played. Lucky booming and going monks against the wagons seems like a good call. The monks will help out Nikov. Monks do become tough to use if there's Britain crossbows around though. +2 armor, 10 seconds away. Once that upgrade comes in, Nikov will be comfortable taking a fight. Veleza hasn't been able to apply any pressure to Lucho. Lucho's at 70 Vils right now, and here comes the fight. That is so many knights! It's so much army from Argentina. Max just really not having his best game, at least compared to Nikov. How quickly Argentina pounced on top of Max in early Castle Age was so important here. And also how quickly they pounced on Amalius when Amalius initially tower rushed Lucky was really strong. A couple monks there from Max and the crossbows from Veleza, worrying them. The biggest moment of the game when Britons are involved is about to come. It's when Britons click up to Imp and they wish to conserve that crossbow mass before Imp. That's where Britons are at their strongest, right? With the additional range. Nikov needs to try and find an engagement basically on his own against these 3 armies and get in close to those crossbows here. And can he do it? He's going to kill that monk, so no conversion there for Max. There's monks behind here from Lucky. Nikov's got 23 knights with 14 more knights in the queue. He's only has 3 stables. He really needs more stables right now, but if he can get the production buildings up, he's going to fly. Stable there. Stable there. He is using the shorefish too. They just can't stop the guy right now, but 30 crossbows, 8 range, dangerous stuff to engage into. And Velez is about to click up to Imp. They have to kill these crossbows. Lucho has no army. I think Nikov's going to go Imp. Seems like he's going to go Imp. And then maybe Lucho. I mean, Lucho actually has his own economy, so I think he can contribute with army at a certain point. And Lucky's going to back away. I don't think organs are a very good call. I don't even know what to suggest to make. Like, organs are fine if Britons aren't involved. It's just Britons are the problem. Take a look at this. So Finland have gotten used to forcing some type of fight, but now it's gotten quiet. And they don't see Nikov anymore. They don't see him. He could go any direction. You could tell they're a little worried. They're like, okay, and there he is. There's the signal. And Nikov's going to go under the TC, and he's going to try and just take out this TC. Obviously, I think he knows that the army from Finland is going to come back to deal with this. And Nikov will not be able to take the town center out. And he can just run away now. But if he runs this direction, he runs into the crossbows. The crossbows that don't have ballistics yet, actually. So they're missing a lot of their shots. And if he runs this direction, he's going to run into a castle. Still no army for Lucho. I wonder if Lucho goes banking. Can he go Imp, maybe? Go for banking? Nikov's got 50 cav, guys. What in the world? If the roles were reversed and Nikov had a Paladin Civ, I think they win this game. The fact that he doesn't have Paladin, though, is a problem. I even think that you really want to rush, like, full armor. A nice trap there from Finland. I think you need to rush full armor, and you also need to rush attack simultaneously with Cavalier here. When you've got Sling, you definitely need double Blacksmith. Just everything you can do to get an advantage. Here we have a forward castle from Lucky, who's about to be Imp, so he could start to treb down Amalius. But Amalius is held. And Amalius will have 2 castles. And Nikov, let's see what upgrades he gets. He's going to get armor and Cavalier. But he is kind of trapped. Like, and he's lost some numbers. Like, this amount of Cavalier not being able to get back to the main group could be a real issue. He got trapped before. Finland are tracking him. Max is going to build the gates. And they've completely trapped 20 units from Nikov. This is amazing for Suomi and just horrible for Argentina. Oh, man. Yeah, you want to escape? Come into my lair. That's sick. This whole time, we're thinking that if Argentina win it, it's through Nikov's numbers. But, oh! Nikov jumps. He jumps on Veleza. And so he finds a really good engagement as well. And I think he's prepping the Boyar switch right now, actually. He's going to take out Max's TC and just run away from here. Remember, Max is not in Imp yet. Trebs from Lucky on Amalius. They'll Trebor this, but if Nikov can get in there, he can snipe the Trebs, just like Max could snipe these Trebs. Though that's less likely because there's monks. Lucho is on the way to Imp. Nikov has been the main player making army. He's made the switch to Elite Boyar from multiple castles now. He'll have 3 castles producing. So he stopped Cavalier. Ranges for Lucho, so he'll probably go for Skirms to pressure Veleza and help out. Skirms would be a great addition. But we could have Paladin for Max in a couple minutes. And it looks like Lucho, or Lucky rather, could lose his castle. But Amalius could also lose his castles too. Really important here. Nikov needs to offer support. There's not enough repair vills. Oh! What a gate from Amalius! It could save him here. The castle goes down for Lucky. Finland's here to take the Trebs. And Nikov is still knocking at the door, but Nikov gets in. I think he gets in. He gets in. He gets in. And this could be awful for Amalius. But Nikov might not escape with any of his army, guys. There's not going to be much to work with for Amalius. He's going to lose most of his eco to these raids. He'll keep most of it alive, actually. Nikov just down to 24 army now. It's 100 army for Finland. Amalius saves his trebuchets. Blue lost his trebuchets. We still don't know what units Blue's going to make. And we still haven't seen a ton of army from Lucho either, who's now going into Arbalest. Anyone's game right now. It's just the eco is so much better for Argentina at the moment. And at least the army type seems to be good for Argentina, but it's the army numbers that's the problem. Like, Boyar is a really good play against the Burgundians here. This castle doesn't get fully denied, so it does end up going up for Lucho, but he may end up losing this castle. Nikov's going to be called about that one. All the arbs for and wagons now need to reposition to help out Max for Finland. You could tell Nikov was just told... Here, I'm going to turn off the market events now. Nikov was just told about these trebs, but Veleza knows he needs to protect his trebs. Now, you can't wall or build on certain areas of the ice, guys. So, I don't know if it's realistic for Veleza in crunch time to actually save these trebs. That's a lot of Boyars. And it's a lot of trebs as well. Like, Lucho could still lose his castle, but those trebs are definitely going down. And then Lucho has his own trebs! Lucho's had such a crazy game, right? Like, he propped up Nikov and slung him for a while, but now he comes in with tons of army. He's got 40 Arbalest. So he'll have Arbs in support. The castle will end up falling on the front for Veleza. That's where a lot of his gold is. Still waiting to see what the army type for Lucky will be. Lucky added a Fatoria, by the way. And it seems like Elite Organ Gun is his choice of military. Nikov, 40 Boyars. Like, multiple players are trying to go Halb out of fear of the Boyars. And now there will be Organ Guns. And there will be Arbalest. Which makes it really difficult for Halb to work. As you can see here. Halb is really just not it. There's so much stone and so much gold in the middle of the map. And it is all for Argentina right now. Elite Organ Gun. I think we just saw Arquebus come in as well. And now the military count for Argentina is greater than Finland. And I think it's all better versions of our military as well. Boyar, Elite Organ Guns. Maybe the only exception is Malay Arbalest. But at least the numbers are really high for Lucho. He's got 60 of them. And the best teams will get the winning position and look for one more thing that they can do to get ahead. And look at Argentina now. Markets are going to start to go up. They're communicating about trade. And if they can just add trade behind this as well, they'll ensure that they can make this forever, man. Argentina is the real deal. In case there was any doubt, there shouldn't be. But I think that people don't realize how good these players are and how much experience they've gained playing with each other, or especially over the last year or so. They've all known each other. Like, many of them have known each other for 10 years, but they've got some new guys on the block. Like, Lucky is 24, Lucho is 18. And they all teamed together in World Desert Championships and gained a lot of experience and synergy there. And they're playing games on ladder all the time together, and they're more active as a team than a lot of other countries are in this tournament. Maybe the only exception to that could be China. Argentina almost fully popped. Every single player is almost fully popped. And surely they've won this game now. Finland just looks stunned. Yeah, Nikov will pounce with the Boyars. How many team games have you seen with Finland where Max has just become a non-factor? That's what happened in this game. Max just became a non-factor. Veleza's archers with Britons never really looked like a big problem here. Very well played from Lucky and Lucho on the flanks. Then Nikov just hard carried through the middle. That was sick. And Argentina goes up 2-1. Now, Nikov has played amazing today. Nikov cannot play in the next game, but neither can Veleza. So it will be the Max and somebody against... Who does Argentina choose? We'll see. But it's not over yet, guys. It's not over yet. It's very rare that you see a player boom like Lucho did, sling like Lucho did, and then come into the game and have a 3-1 KD. Like, that was pretty crazy. I wonder if Finland regrets not pressuring him a little bit more. I think they couldn't pressure him, though, because Nikov was so strong against Max that Veleza had to come to the side. It really just has come back to that. But, yeah, great. Sick game from Lucho. And there's just the sign that both of these two can boom. Like, you know, it's their day job, I guess. Maybe it is for Nikov, technically, but more food, more gold collected for both those two, and crazy upgrades the whole way through the game. So, game 4 coming up. Let's see. Can Argentina do it? All right. Lots of action here at the start. We're catching up to live time. Capwatch. Forgot he played game number 1. Capwatch is a perfect addition here for Argentina. And Finland's came forward really early to try and get some laming in with both their scouts. And Lucky had brought in his early boar and brought in all his sheep as well. So seemingly expecting that. And he didn't have any big problems there. Lucky's playing as the Armenians. And then we have Capwatch playing as the Persians in the back. Expectation is that Capwatch and Max should both be really strong in this position. Expect them to play into scouts after making some fishing ships in Dark Age. And then eventually you want to combat water, but it takes a long time to get fires there. So you won't prioritize fires right away in that position. I think the front position is the most difficult to play because you're so close to the pressure and it can snowball on you so quickly. Oh my god, that lumber camp for Molisako is actually horrible. When he placed it, he probably didn't realize that there was no wood here. But yeah, it's just going to make things really difficult. Now, teams are going to wall towards this wood line at the top. The front position almost always goes archers. I'd be shocked if Lucky actually ends up building the mill here. Unless there's a build order. Oh, he already has this. Okay. I haven't played archers with Armenians that frequently. Usually, you're not seeing a mill with archer builds, and you'll just see the mining camp as the second building. But the mule cart is different. Ooh, also, something that's going to be really awkward. If you want to place the perfect mining camp here, you can't until that deer is dead. So watch, he's going to go place a mining camp. But he has to place it in a way that's slightly inefficient because the deer is there. Yeah, so like that mining camp isn't perfect because of the stupid deer carcass. That kind of sucks. Not sure what happened there. You can make arguments to just go to this gold because it's on the back. So I'm not in love with taking the forward golds. I think Lucky will prioritize this gold, for example. Let me just add the flags here because it resets when we change the players, but would be huge for Argentina to finish this right here. But if they don't, we go to a 3v3 Arabia. And just a signal there from Lucky pointing out the lumber camp. And I expect Capwatch to come forward with his scout at some point. Actually, hold on a second. Lucky, this is a different strat. Is he going to go like galleys? This is a prepped strat. I've never seen this before. So he's walked to the north. He's going to build a dock. He's obviously going to go try and kill Max's fish. But if he does that, he won't have the resources to go archers at all. So I think what this is meant to do, I think this is meant to set up Capwatch to 1v2 and make tons of scouts. This will be all come down to the recognition of Finland on what is happening here. Because if you don't see the barracks here, you might assume it's down here. And if you don't see it there, then you need to think something's up. But how many times are players really going to face up against this? People aren't going to know what this is until a meta is established. And this is the first time I've seen this. Huh. But guys, I'll tell you what you do. If you're up against just full scouts because the archer player won't go archers, you add more spears than usual. That's going to be the key here, but that's only if they recognize it, right? So yeah, he's just going to go like double dock. Every game Max has ever played on this map, is just scouts and fish boom, and then in 3 to 4 minutes, you make ships. Max is not going to gold. Max is not prepared in any way, shape, or form to go for, to defend his fish. And now Capwatch can just fish boom, and it's the easiest game in the world for him because he will never be pressured. Also, is Capwatch fast castle right now? Capwatch is fast castle right now. Whoa. All right. So this is really interesting stuff here, guys. I'm kind of like, my mind's a little bit blown. Max hits Feudal Age at a time you would expect. Capwatch going to wall up. Capwatch just simply fast castling into knights. El Arab in chat says, I'm old. I could tell you're old because you remember Northern Pike. Pike hasn't played in a while, man. Pike hasn't played in like 5 years. I love the shout out, though. Pike doesn't play for Finland anymore. Okay, so here come the archers from Molisako. I think there's definitely some confusion for the Max right now. He will have pointed out that he saw villagers here on stone, but he's losing his fish. He will lose all of his fish here. He will not be able to have the fish boom that Capwatch will have. And now it's all about getting damage in. If you're Molisako, you have to find damage right away. Because the front player is not defending himself, really. He's not making army, right? He's killing your pocket. It's all on you now, really. Max can't adapt his build beyond making 1 fire galley easily. He'll probably go to gold to make more, but it's not an easy spot. And Capwatch knows the pressure's going to be coming in. And Capwatch is walled up. And Capwatch is going to click up to Castle Age. And Capwatch cannot be damaged. This is sick. Oh, but look what Finland tried here. They tried to use Max's scout as a distraction. So the archers could maybe run under. But Argentina with the strats here. And what do you need for this? You need wood. And then you need gold. So he just moves the mule cart over here. So he could still take the gold. And so he could still pressure Max's fish. Max has no fish. Ooh, but we do have Max sneaking. And Max could bypass these docks just with the positioning and go in to kill Capwatch's fish. That's not something that Capwatch is expecting. So that's actually a pretty big deal here. And I really like that decision from Max. That decision might save them. A couple archers loop around the back side. They could disrupt the wood line a little bit, but the benefit of mule carts is you can just reposition if need be. And oh my god, they dove! They've dove! Capwatch, right before he reaches Castle Age, has big problems here. What just happened? He's got to get the house walls down. Capwatch. Oh man, so they distracted like they tried before. And Capwatch wasn't able to kill the archers. And Capwatch can't make knights for 20 seconds and hold on. It's a risky strategy what they're doing here. And think about it. They're going to get damage on Capwatch. Capwatch could lose his fish. And Max is going to be in an okay position compared to Capwatch economically, provided those fishing ships are taken care of. They have no clue that there are fire galleys here from the Max. Without this, they're still in trouble, Finland. With this, Finland's can be more than fine. What great damage there. Now, Capwatch is going to clean this up. He's in Castle Age now, but he doesn't have a mill yet, so he can't add any farms. He's going to get to 2 knights. He's depending on a full fish boom, and he's just simply not expecting the fire galleys to come in. It's going to be so confusing for them, because Lucky is telling him he's got water locked down. It doesn't make any sense from what they know, does it? And there's the signal, and the Navy's going to have to come back, and it's just kind of everything falls apart here. Now, Molisako, he's also had time to wall up, so the Knights can't really do any counter damage here if you're Capwatch. And he was never going to have any fish anyways, so he's fine. He's got 15 archers. This is not too bad at all. But yeah, Capwatch having to flee with his fishing ships right now is pretty brutal. What a play from the Max. That is crazy. Guys, so many people would not do this. This is a Max moment. Just like big brain, great game understanding, great adaptation moment. Because let's face it, everyone at the high level is amazing with how they read the game, and their adaptations are top tier. But a lot of that does come down to what they've faced before, right? It's a repetition of the same situations with minor differences over thousands and thousands of times. This is not a map that's been played thousands of times. This is nothing I've seen yet. This is nothing Finland even has seen yet. And Mulisako, don't blow it, dude. Oh, man. Okay, he gets the house down. But yeah, that saves them. And now Lucky's got to think about what he does. Like, I think from Argentina's perspective, every time they've ever had this situation happen in a practice game or something, the game is already won. Like, they already fell into a good position. So let's see how they play it from here. Becomes a very close game from here, obviously. Capoch still in the Castle Age, still making knights. And actually, still kept his fish alive, too. Some of them, anyways. He still, like, relocated these fish. And they're somewhat protected. And then Lucky came down here to clear up some of the fire. So there's still a fire galley here. I want to check res collected real quick, if you don't mind. Just see. Yeah, so you'll notice the food, right? You're like, why? He has no fish. Well, because Capoch's fish were moving around, and Capoch didn't have this. So Max his eco hasn't been disrupted whatsoever. Great job, though, from Lucky to at least adapt to this situation and help out Capoch. Capoch has a lot of weak ships that he was able to get value from still. But I don't think he was expecting there to be more fires down here. It must be really frustrating for Capoch. Oh, the knights are through. This is bad. This is bad for Mulisako. Oh, he had so much time. He had so much time to get these walls down. Like, this should have been a non-issue. Will it be an issue? These are Persian knights. You can't let them through. And he gets the walls down. Oof. Really shaky. He doesn't have as much tournament experience, this player. Oh! Capoch, don't go in there. Ah! Okay, Capoch is trapped. He's got to break down the house. It's fine. It's fine. He'll come through when he breaks down the house. But yeah, Mulisako doesn't have as much in tournament experience. He did everything right over here, and he just didn't wall this up in time, and that was shaky. It was very shaky. Still the fire galleys around. Capoch just continues to churn out the fish. Give him credit. But Max will not stop focusing on this water. And Max drops the second TC. This is what's weird. The 8 knights that Capoch has, it doesn't play a role in the game. It doesn't actually do anything because of the forward walls. So you become very unsure on what to do. And then the second you stop making army, then Red's going to have some army to push you with, and then you need the army again. Man, Max could get a juicy demo. I think Capoch might need to make some more fire ships of his own here to defend the fish. And he definitely needs to transition into farms. Slowly but surely, he's got to farm away. His eco balance isn't the best right now, Capoch. Oh! The demo kills 3 fish. Worth it, probably. And these are 2 Persian docks here, so you're not going to take them out anytime soon. A couple crossbows here from Red. Still behind that area. And now Red pushes forward. I think Finland are going to take this game. Think about it. Red's never needed the fish. He's got army. Blue's navy was meant to do a job. It did it initially. It killed the fish, but it did not fully control water. Capoch doesn't know what to focus on. He's got to defend on land. He's got to defend on water. But everything is so simplified for Finland. Max is sniping fishing ships and booming. He doesn't really have to make a lot of knights right now, though he is. And his eco is already prepped. His eco is already set up without his own fishing ships. He's already thriving without them. Eventually, like, this should reach a point here where there's so many crossbows that Capoch might not have an answer of his own. There's Max's sneak villager. that built the docks. He's also making stables now and raiding the back of Kapoch's base. This is peak Max, guys. This is like Hidden Cup to the max. Nobunaga all over again. The sneak villager changing games. One of my favorite things about him. It looks like they will actually lose water finally, but not before killing a lot of fishing ships. And Kapoch is just, again, it's like he wasn't expecting this. He wasn't expecting this at all. There's a castle for Lucky. He's going to try and go for composite bowman, but you know, that is just not a unit that feels very strong when there's 32 crossbows out in the field. 32 crossbows are a problem. Now Kapoch is being told, hey, I need help here. When he also has Cav spamming into the back of his base from here. To make things even more annoying, he's going to send a camel there or something, and then the knight's going to get converted. Or, you know, whatever it is, ends up getting converted. I can show the Eco KD. I am kind of curious on that. So Eco KD is 16 to 10 right now for the max. All because he switched back on the water, pretty much. And Lucky still has no army, and Molisako's happy to sacrifice some crossbows just to punish that. Where are all the knights from Kapoch right now? Is he still over here? Oh, this got re-walled. He thought he could run through here and go around, but it got re-walled. And now his knights have to come all the way back over, which is going to take forever. Oh, man, dude. Kapoch must be so annoyed. Oh, that's too many crossbows. Kapoch is clearly distracted. I think he's going to clear this up right now. Max even walling in his villager. Kapoch is going to kill this off. But Kapoch still needs to help out the team and deal with these crossbowmen as well. Lucky has all this water control now. But it is arrived to the point of the game where water control might not necessarily matter anymore. Kapoch has 11 fishing ships, 78 total eco. The max, 1 fishing ship, 78 total eco. And I think you could make arguments that the villagers are actually better to have at this stage, especially with the upgrades he's getting. And Max's villa is still just going to linger over here. And he's going for some slight raids underneath Kapoch's TC. But yeah, I think that your best friend right now if you're Argentina is Siege. You need to hit these crossbows. Because what Max doesn't have is heavy knight numbers with upgrades. Kapoch does. If the knights were here, the siege wouldn't work. They're not here yet from Max. They're still back here. And there goes the villager. There goes Jim. And let's see how Molisako can perform here. He sees the siege. He should communicate that Max needs to get some cav this way, I'd say. And I'd be shocked if Max doesn't make a few more stables this side. But he seems really intent on just raiding Kapoch's eco. It's like right when Kapoch just clears it up. Right when Kapoch clears it up, there's always more pressure coming. How old is Molisako? I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't think he's like super young or anything. Probably like mid-20s. I mean, these are Persian knights. Kapoch has 30 knights. If they can combine the knights in the siege and clear out Red's crossbows, they can then bust through his buildings pretty quickly, and Red dies quickly. So this is, they need to dive on this army. That is just a lot of crossbows. Meanwhile, we have Max on the way to Imp right now. Oh, there you go. Molisako hopping out. Nice little dancing micro there. Nice shot from Lucky. Composite Bowman could be good against the Cav that Max will add later on. Because they shred armor, right? God, Kapoch must be so annoyed. Oh, but he notices it. He notices it, and he walls this out so the Cav can't get through. Might need to allocate some army at home, but they still have to push. Oh, boy. I mean, they can bust through this range so fast. Which is Red's Imp TC? Oh, man. Red even sneaks some vills down here. Lucky's even down here, so they're trying to take the same golds. Guys, that range could go down so quickly. This castle could easily be denied. If Kapotch is attacking the archer range at the same time, this castle could easily be denied. They're going to go towards the TC instead. That is the Imp TC. Kapotch is defending the raids from Max. Max is going to have lots of numbers, though. Oh, and also Kapotch could break through here because they're using the Navy there, too. Oh, man, this is a crazy game. This is crazy. What a recovery from Kapotch, by the way. I thought he wasn't going to be able to manage it. He's managed it great. Red's still 90 seconds away from Imp upgrades. So he could have big problems. He basically needs to fake engagements, act as if he's going to engage, so his TC could stay alive till he makes it to Imp. If he makes it to Imp, I think Finland win the game, provided the army counts are what they are. Kapotch still isn't up. Max is already in Imp, right? So it'll be Max with Imp army, and it'll be Melisaka with Imp army. And then Lucky's on the way to Imp, but that's still going to take some time, and you can tell they just don't have the belief that they can push this right now. To play this well, both teams, when the pressure is at its highest, is just amazing. And this map is one of my favorite maps. This is one of my favorite team game maps out there. There's so many different things that can happen. And we saw a new thing this game. The strategy from Max and, actually the strategy from Argentina, and then the counter strategy from the Max. Imp is in for Melisako. Max just got through into Kapotch's woodline, but Kapotch still has so much army. He's got a lot of knights, though, and Max is going full camel. And Melisako needs to make sure Arbalest is in, and then he's got 50 of them. 50 Arbalest should be insane. It just feels like if Argentina want to push, they hit a wall. Or the second they move out, they get hit by Max in the backside. It's just... I don't know. It just seems extremely awkward. I don't know how else to describe it. I don't know what to suggest about it either. It's like, feels like Finland have 70% of the map right now. The camels will swoop in here and snipe the siege. So the siege is out of the picture. Here, this castle for Lucky actually will not go up. Max is going to come down, maybe drop his own castle here. There's a Treb already from Melisako looking to push Lucky. Lucky has no army. And really nice engagements here for Max because he's got heavy camel on knights. So he's getting clear ups on the army from Kapotch before Kapotch can get the upgrades. The Kapotch is 30 seconds away from Imp still. The castle for Lucky will go down. This TC, this position will likely be lost for Lucky. Kapotch still has to worry about this annoying little spam from the Max, from that sneak villager. And it's just a never-ending cycle of pain for Argentina, who probably can't believe it. I mean, this strategy was great. They win this game so easily if Max never sneaks the Vil and builds those other docks, and maybe even if Max never uses the Vil with the Knight Raids too. It would have been a masterclass strat. They just never expected it. And how could you expect it? Because it's just ingenious play. And we will head to Game 5 if Melisako can continue to make progress here. And listen, if anyone's going to question the Armenians right now, let's not forget, this strategy was designed to win the game before this point. So, yeah, Armenians maybe have some awkward stages of the game, but it wasn't meant to get this far. It was meant to end in Castle Age through Kapotch. After they killed off Max's fish, Kapotch was supposed to have a safe fish boom, and they could have done it. But now, it's gotten late, and Max and Melisako played a great game. I really have to give credit to Max here because of his adaptation to the situation, so much so that I want to go back and figure this one out. So, I mean, this was sick. This almost deserves a breakdown and its own video where I don't do the full-on cast, but I somehow just show the depth of the game. This is so crazy. I want to talk about this all day. So, clearly, from what they could see right about here, okay, There's no barracks. There's no range for Lucky. So they must be thinking something's up, okay? Now, right in this moment, there's 2 galleys here. If it's 1 galley, they know it's just 1 dock, but it's 2 galleys. So Max, I want to see when did he send the Vil? Like, maybe they have faced this before. Maybe he knew immediately. I've never seen it. But Max is sending this Vil away at 10 minutes. Before the galley even shows up. Now, it's like right before the galley shows up. But this Vil changes the game. Because I want to get to the position we were in right about here. Now, there's actually another moment that changed the game when they dove underneath the TC, which I should probably show. But, like, that was basically a semi-immediate reaction from Max to just bypass wherever those docks would be and place 2 docks that changed the game. And that's sick. Because Kapotch was supposed to have 12 fishing ships untouched. Max was supposed to have 0. Kapotch would be in Castle Age to kill all of Red's army. And then Red's army wouldn't be a problem. But in reality, what happened was Kapotch and Lucky just spent so much time trying to deal with Max on water. Red could get a full wall down. Red could have a chill game. And then so could Max back at home with his eco. That was crazy. Now, I want to show this moment because I missed it when they ran underneath the TC. Okay. So, unfortunately, with the way Kapotch was playing, his food eco was not farms, right? So he didn't have a lot of Vils around. So Finland just said, why not try it? And if only 5 Vils can go inside the TC, it's probably worth it here. When you know Kapotch has no army. You've got a limited amount of time to do damage. So Kapotch garrisoned. And it auto-fired on the scouts. And then the archers ran in. And then Kapotch tried to damage control from here. But then he took a lot of losses here too. So this was a big moment too. Anyways, a great game, guys. 2-2 now. And what an excellent series it's been. Winning team next game is going to feel really good about things. Because remember, if you fall into the loser's bracket, you really have no guarantees from there. And it's likely you'll be up against a really good team as well. And could be knocked out before the big dream of the semifinals and the finals. So, well played. Arabia 3v3 is the final map. This is it. Let's go. Let's add the flag back so it feels real here. I am leaning a little bit more towards Argentina for the reasons I already stated. I just think their players are more suited for Arabia overall. Malisako's the standout. He's playing as the Mayans. He's just a player where he doesn't have a long history of playing a lot of Arabia. He is maybe the lower ranked player in the group, but he's teamed with Max and he's teamed with Veleza. And he's actually in the orange here, interestingly enough. I thought you always had to be player 6. He's playing as the Mayans. He is up against Lucho, who's also playing as the Mayans. So we have Mayans on the right side against each other. Then we have Britons for Lucky against Veleza's Ethiopians. And Veleza is going to try and lame. And had he continued, he might have maybe found this elephant. Whoa, what is this line of wood here? This is actually going to make moving around the map really awkward. This is not a bug that you would really restart the game for, but this is definitely unintended. Just a giant wall of wood through these two. And so that could make retreating or even pushing really awkward. Like, it pretty much cuts them off from each other. So I guess players will have to figure that one out. Might be worth chopping the tree at some point. Backwood otherwise for Lucky, which is really nice. Gold's pretty far forward. Really like the map here for Veleza, though. And maybe it's less brutal playing up against the Britons when you have a wall of wood protecting you, right? Max, of course, playing as the Khmer. Expect lots of scouts, fast upgrades, and eventually knights, and boom. And then Nikov the same here with the Franks in the middle. So I don't think there was any laming that took place. Lucho did try. And he brings in his own elephant, and everything seems pretty fine for him. Map for Lucho could be pretty rough to lock down if he loses control here, but you'd expect that he'd build out in front of this gold. Map seems a little bit easier to lock down if you're Melisako. So, no differences in the archer potential on the right side. Cheap walls, cheap archers, great economy for the Mayans. On the left side, you've got the Britons with the extra range, and then the Ethiopians with the faster firing speeds. So I'd say the longer the game goes, the better the Britons feel, especially in Castle Age. But the Britons have the team bonus. So the Britons have the 10% faster producing archer ranges team bonus, which would apply to the other flank as well. So the big reason why you pick the Britons is not necessarily for just the Briton player, but the team bonus affecting the other flank, which is why Argentina saved the Britons for this game. So the way the draft set is everyone can have their choice of the first 5 civs. So Finland had Britons, and they lost with Britons on Big Freeze. And there they only had one player going archer. So obviously now that they lost, that feels kind of rough. But I would have my money on Lucho over Melisako in a 1v1. So let's see how they choose to approach this here. Like, maybe you leave Veleza on his own, let Veleza play 1v2, and then Max chooses to partner with Melisako with his scout support. Am I saying that right, by the way? Any Finns out there? I've never had anyone object to my pronunciation, so I think I'm pretty close. It's acceptable. It's good enough. Okay, and if you say I'm not saying it correctly, you have to correct me. You can't just say no with no info, you know? Seiko? That doesn't seem good. It sounds Finnish. Okay. Well, what did I used to call Veleza? Oh, I guess maybe it was just Velez. And then he never said anything. No one said anything. And I spoke to him, and I think I also said Valise like 4 years ago. Anyways, I was just a little taxi drive to NAC with him. He's not the chattiest individual, so I had to find things to talk to him about, you know? And I was like, by the way, am I saying your name right? He said, no. And then I fixed it. So that's the story. We'll see the range for Lucho on the front. Lucho's not actually on gold right now, which is kind of weird. Might be part of his build just so we can get the ranges out fast. Yeah, it's most likely it. He's going to send the Vils to gold now. And here comes Nikov to help out. There's the ranges for Lucho. And here's the range for Melisako, who might feel a little overwhelmed just because he sees the opponents building the ranges a little bit faster. These are the things that maybe come to mind for me. There's the range for Lucky. And Lucky will complete those ranges here soon. So, I'd expect Argentina to have a lot of confidence here on the right-hand side. And they're going to kill Melisako's Eagle. So, nice start there for Lucho and for Nikov. Nikov seems to be sending his scouts to the right side. And then the scouts from Max seem to be coming to the left side. And Max loses his scout, and so does Lucky here. But, like, again, the Great Wall of Wood. Has Veleza seen the Wall of Wood? He has. Lucky, I don't think has as much of an idea about the Wall of Wood. And, oh, man, Lucho is going to try and lame. And, oh, he actually gets a goat there. So Lucho using all the little tricks he can here. He could actually just give the sheep back and he could kill it with the eagle. But you can't really chase that too far here if you're orange, because then your villager's exposed and the scouts are coming in. And oh man, now the eagle goes down. Or sorry, the goat goes down, and now Nikov is here as well. And Nikov says, thank you for the Vil pick, my friends. And what a great job from Argentina. That is so frustrating right now if you're Melisako. Now Melisako is losing his archer on the front. He's crumbling. He's crumbling under this pressure. He's also pop-capped really badly at the same time. Fletching is on the way now for Lucho. And Lucho's going to be here. And it all has to be happening here for Finland on this side. It has to, because it's Max and Veleza. They're on Lucky. And Lucky probably knows his team is ahead there. So can Lucky hold on well enough? He's dropped the tower. he should be okay. And Mulisako is not okay. He's just being completely obliterated. The villagers are getting slaughtered. The tower on the wood line doesn't even fully protect the gold. This is enough to give Argentina a lead to win this game in early Castle Age. Just completely 2v1ing the weakest player for Finland and not giving him a chance to get going. And in the previous game, right, it was just a simplified role. You wall, you go archers forward. But here, there's so many different aspects. Beautiful job from Argentina. Now, Finland know that this is bad. And so there's a lot more pressure on Max to do damage against Nikov or somebody for that matter. So they're going to try and get into Nikov's base. Nikov is working on being fully walled. He isn't actually walled back here. And Nikov seems to know that Veleza and the Max are on the way. It is 17 vills for Mulisako and a painful situation. The worst thing is, too, is he was completely pushed off of wood and gold. So it's not like he could even continue to make archers. And Lucho's archers are going to head towards the Max right now. But Argentina still have to properly track the Finns. And they're going to find out the hard way that Max has made it all the way over here. So Lucho's getting hit. Ooh, look at that. He actually hopped his archers into the tower, into the TC. And out the other side. But, oof, big losses for Lucho. He is still going to be army numbers. And even Lucky is on the way now. They simply, like, they'll be feeling like as long as they don't take significant damage, they've got 3 players alive and they are fine here. And here we go. Can they kill this army? Upgrades aren't in yet for the Max. You've got archers on the other side here from Lucky, and that Argentina has defended perfectly from this. They've killed all of the archers and all the scouts. And they've still got army to work with over at Max's base, too. Max has to drop a tower now because he doesn't have an answer to the archers. And now Nikov could probably breathe and think about Castle Age for knights. A couple archers here from Lucky. It probably won't find too much damage. I think, like, maybe one more attempt here in Feudal Age from Veleza to get into someone's base could do it. But there's a whole lot of army from Argentina. If they simply just advance forward to Max's base, or maybe to Veleza's base, it could be too much army for an individual player to deal with. Couple archers here from Lucky, won't kill anything. But this is really bad for Finland right now. And then here comes Mulisako. He's going to try and recover. He's still in the game. And, I mean, he's killing some of the scouts there. But he does miss micro a bit. And he gets jumped on, and he's just going to lose even more archers. Oh, man. I really feel for him, right? Because, like, it doesn't give me satisfaction to have to talk about his situation as I have, right? About how he's the standout, the player who it doesn't have the same high-level experience, and the player who maybe isn't as good on these types of maps. And unfortunately, it is shown as well, right? Like, and I think he will say he's better than this, but unfortunately, it was just so quick from Nikov and from Lucho. They had the timings perfect. They were right on top of him. And, like, Lucky on the other side defended so much better in a 1v2 scenario. He made it look easy. Nice job from Mulisako to wall this up. Loses another Vill. But who cares about his villagers at this point? He's got 25. It's more so about the situation for the Max and the situation for Veleza. Nikov is on the way to Castle Age. Nikov will be making knights soon. And Max is going YOLO scouts right now. He's getting crazy upgrades too. Guys, they could kill Lucky right now. Max could run in with these scouts. Lucky doesn't have the army here. Also, they could maybe deal with this. This could be really awkward for Lucky. There's still some archers for Veleza. There's lots of upgrades coming in for the Max. Max gets in front, but is a little too close to the TC. So Lucky's able to keep his villagers alive. Gotta remember that Lucho is completely untouched. So Lucho walling up now. He's got 28 archers. So when he's in Castle Age, he'll have a whole bunch of crossbows. And Veleza doesn't actually have... Oh, as he gets called out! Veleza doesn't actually have that many archers. He's on the way to Castle Age, but he's lost so many of his archers defending himself and in all these engagements. And Nikov even stops the wall off here for Veleza. And Nikov will have +2 armored knights on the fields. And Max is still 2 minutes away from Castle Age. This is the perfect position for Argentina. There's a really impressive team. I'm a big fan of this freaking Argentina team, man. Their roles are sick. Nikov can play everything, okay? Lucho and Lucky can play the open map roles really well. They have Gary and Manos who can do the nomad maps or maybe like the closed maps. But then they also would have FedEx, who we haven't seen today. But FedEx is sick on closed maps too. It's just like, it's so cool. And the thing that's exciting is I feel like when you think about Nikov and what he's done in his team game career, a lot of times he was teamed with like Leary, MBL, Hart, Hera, right? And so Nikov didn't get the carry roles. Nikov would just get like the flank role. He wasn't really the lead strategist of the team. He wasn't the guy. Nikov can be the guy, right? And he's shown that throughout this whole series, both in the 1v1s doink, and the team games. So don't want to hype him up too early here. Max is getting some nice Vil picks here on Nikov that maybe could have been avoided. But still should be a really nice position for Argentina to close this out. Let's see if they do. The worry right now for Finland is that Lucio has 35 crossbows. Like, 35 crossbows. Has taken very little damage, and it's up to Castle Age so fast. And, like, Max is going to have to deal with this somehow. I don't know if he's going to have the army to deal with this many crossbows. Maybe Veleza can go help. But do you want to do that? Ideally, I think you have to push right now because Molisako is kind of out of the game. So having to come home to defend, it just gives Argentina time to extend their lead a little bit. Max tried to drop a siege workshop to block the foundation, to block the area and stop the units from coming in. But the units made it through anyways. And Max doesn't have the army here, guys. And he drops a panic TC, but this is where all of his farms are. Like, this is his whole economy. And Lucho's just going to camp the hill. And he doesn't ever have to leave, really. And Nikov's here with knights as well. And all three players from Argentina are directly on top of Max's eco right now. The only thing he can take comfortably is, like, wood and maybe some gold. Another thing you got to bring it back to is you have Britons now. So Lucky's going to have more range than any other archer player. And Molisako still has not clicked up. And Finland go down to Argentina. Argentina win 3-2. A beautiful performance from Argentina today. But also a lot of promising signs from Finland. I still am curious. Where is Rubenstock, right? Is Rubenstock just unavailable this weekend, but available for the next round? If that's the case, even though I think Finland's are going to have their struggles on 3v3 Arabia, I think, you know, having Rubenstock incorporated into some of the other maps could maybe be a good thing for them. I think that overall, strategically, they were very, very solid today, Finland, but they're up against an Argentina team, which is really solid. Here's the other thing. That 1v1, guys, between Veleza and Nikov. If Veleza wins that game, they probably win this series 3-1. Or 3-0 even, because they have all the momentum. So that 1v1 was maybe the most important game of the entire series, and everything else would have been a moot point. There's the KD. Lucho with an amazing game. Nikov as well, of course. Lucky just... You're never expecting the guy who's against two people like that to have a positive KD. He still ended up being 25-25. And there's res collected. I think Eco KD is rough. I mean, Molisako went down to 17 Vils. There's nothing more I can really suggest when you go down to 17 Vils that you could do. 0 Vils killed, 12 lost. Max killed 10, lost 13. Veleza killed 2, lost 4. Now Lucho killed 21. I mean, maybe Molisako could have, like, tried his best to get counterattack, but I felt like every time he would, Lucha would just have more numbers because he didn't have wood and he didn't have gold. That's actually a very good point from chat. Next round will be slightly different settings as well, so it's possible there's no 3v3 Arabia next round. I think that's actually the weakest for Finland right now with the way their squad's shaping up. So whatever the settings are for the next round might actually be a bit better for Finland to see if they can survive. Let's quickly just look at the bracket and remind you who Finland will face, what that means for Argentina as well. What a series, man. Yeah, this Argentina team is no joke, man. They played together a lot this year. They have a lot of belief in themselves. And from what I know, they're having a lot of fun doing it too. So here we go. Oh, man. Look at the upper final. Holy, dude. Okay, upper final in Group B next weekend. Argentina versus Brazil. Winning team goes directly to one of the semifinals. The lower final in that group will be Finland versus Russia. That should be a banger. Losing team is out. Winning team advances to the quarterfinals. And then we've got China versus France in the upper final, which should also be a banger. Winner moves to advance to the semifinals. And then loser of Canada-Vietnam is out, with the winner staying alive. So honestly, all those sets should be really good. So we have next weekend is going to be all of the sets I just mentioned. And then the following weekend is the quarters, the semis, the third place match, and the final. So we just have 2 more weeks of this event. So I hope you guys enjoyed the games today. I hope you're ready for more. There's obviously 2 weeks left. And if you get a moment, please thank Memb and everyone involved for putting on the event, because it's been a fun cast so far. So